Yeah.
Ready, set, and hello. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Welcome back.
It's been a while.
For us, not you.
Not you, maybe.
Well, maybe potentially because it takes me forever to upload these things.
Perchance it's been a while. I'm not too sure, actually. So,
What's
hi.
up?
How you doing?
How you doing?
We're doing great.
I'm Rory.
I'm not Rory, which makes me Roni.
And this is another episode of
Haven't Have Not.
Percy Jackson.
Battle of the Labyrinth.
Battle
Battle of the Labyrinth. Battle of the Labyrinth.
Yes, Battle of the Labyrinth. We're
Battle
very
of the
excited.
Labyrinth.
And we're drinking again.
Yes.
We were sober for a while.
We went to rehab and we're recovered, and now we can drink in social settings again.
We relapsed.
We relapsed. No. Just kidding. We are stationary for the first time in what feels like absolutely forever. So I am sleeping at Rory's place, where I no longer live, and I'm able to get drinking. Fun fact.
You may hear airplanes.
Fun fact.
Oh.
Today.
Oh, yes. Roni
actually
is older and wiser.
Older and wiser.
Happy birthday to Veronica.
Yes. I am 43.
Honestly, it's a one-way auditory medium.
So you would never know.
So you would never know.
I'm not giving away too much personal identification information, but I'm in the number between 24 and 26. So you use your deduction skills there.
You know what's funnier than 24, Roni?
27? 25. So I'm 25 today, and I genuinely could think of nothing better than sitting down with a bottle of one of my friends' wines and drinking and talking about Battle of the Labyrinth, which I finished on the way here today. I finished the last 2.5 chapters.
Yeah! Again, me and Roni, I hope, have made clear we're very busy people. This is literally something we genuinely do for fun. So thanks for those of you who want to tag along.
For context, I currently work 4 jobs and am in school full time. Busy feels like an understatement, but
yeah,
I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be back in your little abode, in your little corner of your little kitchen with your little sand and fog, not sponsored, candle going in the background, drinking some red wine that probably shouldn't have been chilled, but that, hindsight's 20/20.
I did what I had to do, okay?
You did what you had to do. You preserved it. And nevertheless, we shall prevail. And on that note, since we are drinking...
Yeah, I think you have something to say, right?
Let me...
Just spit it out.
No, there was an issue. There was an error on the screen that I had to. It detected feedback. So let me try that again.
All right, ready?
If you are drinking, you want to drink it with us and make sure it's in a legal province, state, region, country, wherever you are. We are both over the age of 21, hence me being 25 today. So we have a legal drink. But if you are below the age of 21, please do not drink, or 18, or wherever the fuck you are, as I previously mentioned. But this is a one-way auditory medium, baby. Yay! So we would never know.
Anyway,
Best bit in the show.
So let's talk a little bit about Battle of the Labyrinth. Mm-hmm. So it's been a while, actually, since we've recorded a Percy Jackson episode at all, because...
Halt. Anything.
Well, anything, period. But we did record things in between doing Titan's Curse and doing this book.
Yes.
We were recording From Blood and Ash episodes.
From Blood and Ash.
Where I lost my fucking mind.
And if you haven't watched or listened to those episodes, please do, because I think those are some of our golden moments of...
They're some of my favorite episodes.
Not only podcasting, but I feel like we became better friends during that time.
Because if you thought I lost my mind during Throne of Glass, this was a whole other
We're throwing
experience.
It back From Blood and Ash.
Yeah, From Blood and Ash. It was great.
So Blood and Ash, but so.
There's a few things we should mention before we get into this fourth book.
Please
because
go ahead.
I'm the one who has in this Have and Have Not episode.
I have not.
Exactly. So I recommended Percy Jackson to Roni, and if you've been following our journey, that's amazing. So... the fourth book, I haven't read a lot of these books in so long, so please excuse me if there's like details I just don't remember. But I will say that growing up, when I was reading these books for the first time, the first book was always my favorite just because of like nostalgia. And it's like, it's the fucking first book. It's iconic. It's the Lightning Thief.
Think,
like,
yeah, I will say so far, nothing has held a candle in comparison to the Lightning Thief just because of the nostalgia vibes. But when I was reading this continuously, I was entertained.
Well, I was going to say that because, like, taking aside the first book, just because there's, like, a chokehold that the first book has over, like, my brain chemistry, the book that I actually think is the best one is this fourth one.
I think it has so many tendrils that will, like, it connects so many things that we've learned, and it offers a lot of things that we have yet to learn, which I always enjoy in books. I always like knowing the thing I'm reading isn't the only thing that exists in that timeline, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, but like to that point, like my first experience with, you know, reading a chapter book series, like legitimately, I've said before on this show, is Percy Jackson.
Yes.
And this fourth book, like you're saying, where it's like, oh, there's things that, you know, you would know from reading the past books and setup and payoff, and like it was
things that have yet to be answered, which is the coolest part.
Right, like this was my first experience reading a chapter book, especially with like fantasy elements, where I really like felt like I read a fucking book.
I would venture to say this is beyond fantasy and goes into sci-fi.
Yeah, you could say that. Or you know, like urban fantasy.
No, I mean there's like literal cyborgs. The Transformers attack.
Oh, yeah. But I still feel like it's more urban fantasy, but because they're magic based. Like they're cyborgs, but they're run by magic.
And they bleed gold oil.
Yeah. So my point is that this fourth book is actually like, apart from being a part of a kid's series, is actually a legitimately kind of good chapter book.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know how like sometimes even with the earlier Percy Jackson books, they're like good for kids books, but this is where Rick starts to venture into like it being a like just a book. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I think at this point his audience has been growing with him for what, 4 years?
Yeah, and like Percy's in high school by now when we start the
about
book.
to enter high school.
So it's like it's a lot more mature compared to the other books.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely broaches into some newer unfamiliar waters, if you will.
Oh, Roni with the puns.
Unfamiliar waters, if we will. It talks about things that, like, you know, teenage boys go through and teenage girls go through. And there's, like, a little bit of a seasoning of, like, that, cousin love.
Oh, God. Well, the other reason I also love this book, if you couldn't tell from the title, is it's Battle of the Labyrinth.
Which there's Annabeth's.
Which there's twofold reasons why this book was my favorite one when I was a kid. Again, taking apart, like, you know, putting the first book aside because that's just inarguable.
Of course.
Like, this book was my favorite because this book centers mostly around Annabeth, who was my favorite.
It's her quest.
Yeah, it's her quest. And secondly, because me and my brother got kind of obsessed with Greek mythology, hence how we got hooked on this series when we were kids. And my favorite myth was always Theseus and the Minotaur for whatever reason. I loved that myth. I loved the
with
twine.
the golden string.
Yeah, I loved the twine. I loved the whole backstory with Daedalus and how it connects to Icarus and like all that, like how it's like layered.
That was one that we really loved in Greek school too.
Right, and like how the end of the myth is like Ariadne being left on the island, but then she ends up with Dionysus, and like I just loved that it was this really long, continuous sort of myth that connected to other myths.
It wasn't just like a little like Snickers tidbit. It was like a whole like 5-layer German chocolate cake. It was like decadent. It had layers like an onion.
Well, also like for me, nothing is cooler than like going into a mysterious dark maze and like trying to navigate your way out. Like that's cool. It's a cool myth. It's got cool vibes.
That whole story emphasizes that life and other people's lives do not end when you exit the scene.
Yeah.
Like other things will persist and permeate and kind of the ripple effect, which is how we get from the twine to Ariadne.
Yeah, well, and also the fact that the Minotaur even just being in the maze is its own whole backstory about Minos pissing off like Zeus.
Yeah,
it's just
out.
I always loved it. So I loved the setting of being in the labyrinth because Rick does so much fun stuff with the kinds of things that are actually in the labyrinth.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that was great. And I'm very excited to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get into the plot.
All right. So for reference, we're on the RiordanFandom.com wiki for this book. Did I say what we're drinking?
Oh, no.
Damn it.
We're just...
Fuck.
Oh, yeah, you did. You said you were drinking wine that your friend made.
From a friend made. Yeah, so it's red wine.
Yeah.
And red wine will get me all kinds of fucked up, not very quick.
Even though what you all should be drinking if you're drinking, but again, we don't know because it's one-way auditory medium. But if you're drinking, you should be drinking something blue.
Yes, of course. This is a shade of blue?
Not really, but...
Well, aren't red and blue in like the same color family?
No.
I mean, they're both tied with the cardiovascular system.
Okay, but one's a cool tone and one's a
yeah,
warm
but
tone.
Red is used for oxygenated blood. Blue is for deoxygenated
blood. And
I would venture to say they're related. For me, if I see red, I'm like, I can think of blue because I think of the freaking heart.
Okay, bitch. All right, sure. We'll go with that.
Cardiology girl over here. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
All right. So
in your world, red and blue are the same.
I didn't say they're the same. I said that they're related. I said they're the same family. And then yellow is nerves.
Yeah, they're not. But
like you're getting yellow on my nerves right now. I'm sorry. All right, so the book starts with Percy Jackson going to freshman orientation class at Goodle High School.
It's not Goodle, it's Good. Already.
Well, if this is just a little bit of context, guys, for how this night has gone. On this day of my 25th anniversary of birth, I have fallen off of a chair while stone clone Snowber. So this is how my night's going to go.
She had plenty of time, too, to, like, not fall off the chair.
I just kind of froze, like... Oh, what are the screaming goats when they get frightened? How they just freeze and then they fall? That was
she
me.
Just was like, let the earth take me.
Who can say when?
Keep going.
Who
works at this high school, Roni? Somebody kind of important.
Not Paul Blowfish. Paul Blowfist.
Paul Blowfist.
His mom's boyfriend. We stan Paul.
We fucking stan Paul fucking Blowfist. I love Paul Blowfist.
I freaking love how Sally Jackson was like, I can't get away from the C thing. So like Blowfist, Blowfish.
Yeah, at least
they're kind of in the same family. She's got a theme.
Yeah.
She's got a theme. And then Ugly Gabe. Gabe.
Smelly Gabe.
Like smelly fish.
He's dead.
Yes, he's deader than dead.
Mm-hmm.
He was petrified. All right. His mom's boyfriend teaches. And didn't he also help Percy get a place here?
Yes, he did.
Yes. So he's already pulling strings. He's already trying to get some on the side.
Because every Percy Jackson book starts with Percy at his new school.
About to get kicked out.
Literally,
that's like the underlying tone. Like how every Harry Potter book starts at the Dursleys or in the summer.
Yeah.
This is how every Percy Jackson book starts.
At his new school, about to get kicked out because of some monster-related incident.
An MRI, if you will.
Yeah, an MRI, exactly. Perfect.
All right. So while there, he meets Rachel Elizabeth Dare.
Which she was in book 3, wasn't she, at the Hoover Dam?
Yes, but I would venture to call her Red, a clear-sighted mortal. Rachel Elizabeth Dare.
Oh, that's funny. Red. And she's got red hair.
Yeah, and
so that's pretty funny.
I also know a Red.
So a clear-sighted mortal means what?
A mortal who can see through the mist.
Exactly. So she's special. So for whatever reason, Rachel can see the monster. She's not affected by the mist.
And by the end of this book, we still don't know why she's special.
I know.
Yeah, well, fuck you. Fuck you and your trickin' strips. I know that you know. That's why this is have and have not.
Well, it's my turn because literally if you listen to the fucking From Blood and Ash episodes, Roni, the whole goddamn time I'm saying, I don't know what Poppy's deal is. You're like, I know. So it's my fucking turn.
I'll let you have your turn. He previously met her at the Hoover's Dam in the Titan's Curse, or the Titty's Curse, as it's labeled on our Google Drive.
You should see our Google Drive,
it's
guys.
It's so bad. What's your favorite one? Quick, sorry.
My favorite one is... Wait, no. The Viscount Tussie Who Loved My Pussy. And An off pussy from a gentle pussy is also a good one.
That's a runner-up for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, the cell suction is also a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so during the orientation at Good High School, Rachel suddenly runs away from the gym and into a music room. Percy follows her, and she tells him that something is wrong with the two presenting cheerleaders, Tammy and Kelly. And just so you guys know, each of these girls have double letters in their names. I don't trust double letters. I feel like there's something sus.
And also they end in an I.
Yeah,
both Tammy and Kelly end in an I.
Tamai, Kelly.
Yeah, Tamai and Kelly.
What the freak? The people in question, and again, I'm reading this verbatim from the Rick Riordan fandom, so I'm citing them here. Don't sue me, please. I'm giving my APA citation. Anyway. People in question enter the music room, where they reveal themselves to be Pusai and Pusai.
Yeah, so
here's Pusai?
I always thought it was Empusai.
EMPOUSAI.
Yeah.
And Pusai.
So they're monsters.
Monsters.
Which is very typical for Percy Jackson, that like a teacher or a kid or like a random person is
bully.
A random bully turns out to be a Greek monster. What are the Empusai, Ronnie?
Empusai, or singular Empusa, are winged, blood-sucking monsters under the control of the goddess Hecate, and they are known to feed on the blood of men and the basis for the image of the modern vampire.
And Hecate is the goddess of witchcraft.
Yes. So these bitches should not be trifled with. So they are like these like cheerleaders, like they're like, okay, give me your wrist, let me suck your blood, let me kill you, Percy, and red. Woo!
That was your cheer.
Off the cuff too.
Wow, nobody could tell. Flawless.
If you literally gave me 5 minutes, I promise it would have been better.
No, I'm teasing.
Anyway, the people in question enter the music room, where they reveal themselves to be Empusai, whatever. Percy slays Tammy. And I like how in the synopsis they say slay. Like slay, with Riptide.
Yeah.
Let me go ride.
Boots
like
the house
Riptide.
down.
But Kelly disappears in a burst of fire. Unfortunately, Paul Blowfist and some other mortals see the incident, forcing Percy and Rachel to escape through a broken window. They both run outside, where Annabeth is freaking there waiting, and Rachel leaves Percy, telling him to explain everything when he has time. Then Percy, along with Annabeth, make their way to camp. And if I remember correctly, Annabeth is like, who's this?
Oh yeah, she is not happy.
Because didn't they recently like smooch?
No.
Not yet.
That may happen later. But they
have a little bit of a crush on each other.
Well, you remember the beginning of the third book, Percy's like, is Annabeth like my girlfriend? Like, he and Annabeth are basically acting like boyfriend and girlfriend. Without being boyfriend and girlfriend. But here's the thing, Annabeth's suspicions are not wholly unfounded, because even though we've just met Rachel, little bit of a spoiler alert, she kind of is into Percy.
She literally gives him her phone number, and he memorizes it.
So Annabeth,
he like memorizes her telephone number because he is that infatuated with her.
So yeah, and Percy kind of is a little bit receptive to it, which as a kid I was like, betrayal. Like I was so not having it. But he's a kid. He's 14.
He's a kid, and Annabeth isn't doing anything to make moves.
Yeah.
Like, not that she needs to make moves. They're like, what, 14?
Yeah.
But like, even at 14, like, you would think like if they have a crush on each other, it's like one of those like middle school crushes where they're walking down the hall and they touch hands, but they don't hold hands, and it's like that really weird thing that you see that middle school couple. Like, it's not even like that.
Well, you know what else too? I'll give Percy this much credit. On the one hand, like, even though Percy has proven himself at this point to be insanely brave, because Percy is a hero. Like, he is a Greek hero, Percy.
We already know that.
You know, he is the son of Poseidon. He lives up to his name 100%. Percy is really brave. But the thing is that I love about Annabeth and Percy's relationship, and why, again, there's no moves being made, is because, weirdly, the only thing that kind of scares Percy is Annabeth.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yes.
That Percy, who's this almost fearless, like, epitome of, like, a half-blood hero...
I'm beaming right now because I think it's so cute.
Right, is intimidated by Annabeth. So I think he is afraid, like, if he does anything and she's rejects him, like that would actually kind of devastate
Oh
him.
yeah, for sure. But he's so short-sighted that he doesn't realize she's like swooning over him.
Yeah.
But I will say later she does kind of like how she talks about other things that go on do kind of give the impression that she was more interested in someone else.
Yes, that's true. But
so a fair for both parties. But it was just really, really like,
well, the hilarity being that Rick canonically, like, he literally made it canon in, I think, in Mark of Athena, which is, you know, in the spin-off series. In Mark of Athena, like, I think it's that book where it's basically confirmed in, like, canon that she basically had a crush on him from, like, the get-go.
I could see that.
Like, basically from, like, moment one, she was interested in him.
You drool when you sleep.
Yeah, like, that was a neg. She was negging him, guys.
Negging?
You never heard of negging?
I've heard it. Don't know what it means.
Neg, it's like, it comes from, it's like a pickup artist term from, like, the game.
A pickup artist?
Yeah, it's a pickup artist term.
What's a pickup artist?
Like a, like, it's basically like the diet version of, like, red pill men who, like, do, like pickup artistry where they're picking up women. They, like, it's ways to pick up women. So it's a term in, like, a self-help book called The Game, where it's, like, where you insult a woman to, like, make her attracted to you. So it's, like, a blow to her self-esteem, so she wants your approval, is, like, the psychology behind it. Yeah, it's very manipulative. It's hence why a lot of red pill men, like, kind of started out in the pickup artist scene.
These are also incels?
Some, yeah, I mean, red pill men tend to be incels.
I wonder why they're incels at this point. If
yeah,
they're
so
negging
she
someone.
literally negged him.
Nice. So after reaching camp, Annabeth decides to go talk to Clarice about something secret, leaving Percy to wander the camp by his lonesome. He stops by the arena and sees a massive hellhound named Mrs. O'Leary.
Mrs. O'Leary!
He tries to kill her, but is soon stopped by Quintus, the new sword master, who reveals that Mrs. O'Leary is his pet.
Now, Quintus is the perfect example, and I won't spoil it, but Quintus as a character, the new sword master, is what I'm talking about when I say, like, as a kid reading this book for the first time, the introduction of Quintus and, like, how the story unravels and, like, reveals things is a perfect example of my little kid brain exploding, like, and reading a book for the first time and being like, oh my god, like, the Easter eggs about Quintus are so great, and the reveal at the end is amazing.
I foresaw the reveal. Let me just say, I foresaw the reveal.
Yeah, of course, as an adult,
but
as a
I
kid,
didn't get the Easter eggs as much.
You'll see as we go through.
So we'll go through and you'll point them out. But Chiron interrupts their conversation and takes Percy to Grover Underwood. Let's just say, also, from the immediate get-go, Percy is sus of Quintus. He is very sus.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, this guy rubs me the wrong way. I don't like this guy. He's new. Shit's happening in the world. I don't trust this.
Well, in fairness, anytime, like, some new shit has come into Camp Half-Blood, it's ended in disaster. Like, it's a weird sort of, you know, opposite of Harry Potter, where, like, every fucking year there's a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and they're all just like, oh, I guess here's the new guy. Like, Percy's kind of caught on to the formula. He's like, every time.
He's like, I'm 3 books in and I figured it out. You guys were like 6. Took you 6 books to realize this position was cursed. Yeah. I got it after 3.
Yeah, he's like, new guy, not here for it.
All right, Chiron interrupts the conversation and takes Percy to Grover. Yes, my little Hoven friend.
We love Grover. We stand Grover. Protect Grover at all costs.
Protect the trees. He's like the Lorax, this man. He leads them to a glade where the Council of Cloven Elders is being held and drops him next to Annabeth, Clarice, and a crying nymph, Juniper, who turns out to be Grover's girlfriend.
Yeah, Grover and his girlfriend are like the sweetest thing ever.
Good for him. He's older than them, right? I can say that without being weird, right?
Grover's like a full-on adult.
Yeah, he's getting some. Good for him. The council decides that Grover has only 1 week to find Pan. And Rory, can you just remind us who Pan is? And no, it's not the cooking apparatus.
No. Pan is
or the sexual.
Pan is the god of nature. He is always depicted as a satyr, like Grover, and he basically has gone missing because the world is polluted as fuck. And so Pan has disappeared, and we've discussed before that every satyr's sort of mission in life was to get their searcher's license so they could go and look for Pan and restore nature, because without Pan, nature's fucked.
Let's just say, without Pan, all is gone. Do you get it?
Explain.
Pan, as in pan covering a large array of subjects, synonymous with all.
Like Pangea.
Yeah. Pan, the prefix.
Wow.
All, right?
Roni, whoa.
Are you being facetious with me right now?
I just love how your brain works. Keep going.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
No, I find you
if
so
he doesn't
amazing.
find Pan, not all, if he doesn't find the lost god of the wild Pan, his searcher's license will be forfeited.
Side note, why? Like, I think this was always something, even when I read the books as a kid. I'm
so
why?
sorry that these cloven elders with millennia of collective experience are putting the entire fate of finding this lost god on a small, maybe he's an adult, but he's got a goatee little goat cloven foot ass man.
Yeah, like he's basically a teenage satyr. And like, it's established.
Like, that's the equivalent of like someone telling you, Rory, you are responsible for stopping the pending war.
Yeah, like what? I'm just a law student, bro.
I learned the law. I don't do shit with it yet.
Rory, we need you to rewrite the Constitution. Stat. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm a woman. I wouldn't have been able to hold a quill next to them. Literally.
So yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, okay, Rick, go off. But like, why? Who knows?
And no justification is given to why either.
Yeah, they're just fed up, I guess. I don't know.
They're like, they need a scapegoat.
That's so stupid. The way her eyes got so big, like she was so fucking proud of herself for that one. I loved that. Oh man. Okay, so
the meeting concludes and Percy rushes over to clean up his cabin for the cabin inspection. As soon as he reaches the Poseidon cabin, he sees his half-brother Tyson.
I love Tyson.
And I don't use that voice to be rude, but because that's literally how the audiobook narrator does it. He's like, "Hey, Percy, how you doing? I've been forging under the sea. I'm Tyson.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how
I like you, Annabeth."
Yeah, I mean...
He does like Annabeth a lot.
He does like Annabeth a lot, which I think is very cute.
Anyway, Tyson hugs him and shows him the repaired shield that Percy broke last winter during the fight with the Manticore. So Tyson, since he is a Tyson...
Since he's a Cyclops. Since he is a Tyson. By the way, Tyson is such an inside joke between me and Roni. Like, we will never disclose why, but... Every time we say the word Tyson, it's just funny.
No. Like, I'm saying it right now, and that's why I said a Tyson, because I literally, like, no other words came to mind besides the image that came to my head. Anyway, Tyson's a Cyclops.
And they're fireproof.
Yes, and they're very, very skilled at forging because they are fireproof, so they can stand the hot heat, and therefore the really, really good quality stuff and the shit and the repairing it. So he gives it to him. Later that night, Percy has trouble sleeping. Uh-oh, a bad dream. He realizes that the room is glowing with a faint blue light coming from the saltwater fountain that his father had given him last winter. Surrounding it is a rainbow-colored light, which is an iris message. So someone had to forfeit a gold drachma in order to talk to him, so it must be worth talking to. So he deposits one drachma into the mist, and it shimmers until the figure of Nico D'Angelo becomes clear.
My paisan.
Nico is conversing with Auguste, asking if there's a way to bring Bianca D'Angelo, his dead sister, who joined the female cohorts, the Valkyries.
I don't know. I think they're just like the daughters of Artemis. I don't know what they're called.
Not the Valkyries. Whoopsie. Shit. Holy shit. I've had too much blue wine.
Apparently. Red blue wine. But remember from the last book, Nico and Bianca were revealed to be the children of Hades.
Mm-hmm.
And Nico can talk to ghosts because Hades lords over the dead.
Yes.
And Bianca died last book.
And bear in mind, Nico doesn't actually have a place at camp. There's not even a cabin for him.
Right, because Hades doesn't have a cabin at Camp Half-Blood.
Because he's not.
He's Hades. He's not an Olympian.
He's the outcast. So he is like...
He has literally nowhere to go, no family, no sister, no nothing.
So I don't know if I mentioned this when this originally happened, but when Nico and Bianca were introduced, I immediately was like, okay, these two are going to be, well, one now. These two are going to be a point of conflict. Mm-hmm. Their loyalties are going to be split between Kronos and Zeus, really, because that's who's heading the Olympians, right?
Yeah.
So we're dealing with this potentially very
but the King of the Dead has a place with neither of them, so it's sort of like they can pick whatever side they want.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like there's no allegiances.
Exactly.
There's no allegiance to Olympus or to the Titans because irregardless, people are going to die from this war and fill Hades' spot, Hades' land. So we're dealing with now a very upset, a very, I would say, unstable character in that he's a young boy who's grieving the loss of the only family member he's ever known, and he has power, and he's the son of Hades, and he doesn't know where to go. So we're dealing with a very, very sticky situation. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to bring his sister back to life. The ghost answers that it is possible, but only if an exchange happens. A soul for a soul. Shit. So someone has to die to bring his sister back. And I just kept thinking, his sister wouldn't want that.
I was just going to say Bianca wouldn't have wanted that.
Bianca was a very good person.
She died basically sacrificially.
Can you remind us?
I don't remember.
And me.
I don't remember. I know that she
It wasn't important enough. Anyway,
well,
moving on.
Here's the thing. Bianca was in the book for like actually not that long before he killed her off. No. But you know, I'm sure somebody knows, but basically she sacrificed herself effectively.
He's going to sacrifice himself.
No, Bianca, no.
No, Cleo, no.
Not
the
me.
Water.
Not me. Not Nico.
You.
All right, anyway. So...
Sorry.
So
okay, so the vision changes before Percy has time to put in another drachma. In his mind, he has a chilling thought that Nico would come looking for him. Why?
Because he's the only other person who's a child of the big three.
That was rhetorical.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, thank you for answering my question, though.
Is that Nico would come... It makes sense that Nico would come looking for Percy, at least in Percy's mind, because...
He's the next powerfulest.
He's the only next powerfulest.
Holy shit. I promise I'm a PhD student.
Well, because don't forget, just to remind everyone, Thalia, who was the daughter of Zeus, she is effectively just a daughter of Artemis now.
Yeah, she relinquished her status. She is that's what Bianca did. Bianca was like, I don't want to be tied to it. So it was left Nico and Percy as like the only two recognized sons of the gods.
The big three.
Sons of the
So this is bad for Percy for two reasons, because based on what you said before, which are totally all valid and well said.
Thank you.
Number one, if Nico decides to side with Kronos, it makes total sense that Nico would try to convince Percy to do the same, or would come after Percy, because Percy's the only other half-blood who is potentially as powerful as him.
And now it makes Nico the other potential focus of the prophecy.
Right. There's that. And the second reason is it's bad for Percy is that if Nico doesn't decide to side with the Titans, he might come looking for Percy anyway, just for, like, guidance. Mm-hmm. Like, either way, it makes sense why Nico would be interested in approaching Percy in some way. He either
wants answers, revenge, or direction.
Exactly. And all of those things for a 14-year-old Percy Jackson are
overwhelming.
Are a bit overwhelming.
Considering that he's dealing with a still angry Annabeth.
Yes.
For the Rachel Elizabeth Dare situation. The red situation, if we will.
That's also another insight.
Yes, hence why I pointed it out in the beginning, and Rory just kept talking.
Yes, I didn't want to linger on it, but
want to acknowledge.
She keeps bringing it up, I know, to piss me off.
I do, yes. I know how to get a rouse out of you. Rise. Fuck. Get a rouse.
A rouse.
I've had 3 glasses of wine before this. Let's just say that.
Wow, you're doing great, sweetie.
The fact that these words aren't moving on my phone is surprising, to say the least. The next day, at night...
At night.
What's that from?
SpongeBob. Fuck. Fucking idiot. It's from SpongeBob. Taking out the trash at night.
There we go. Is it the
hash-slinging slasher?
I know. You knew exactly what one I was talking about.
I quote SpongeBob to an unhealthy degree. Moving on.
My leg.
My leg.
That was me for high school. Because I played soccer, so I was always like, my leg. All right, the next day at night, in a camp game designed by Quintus, which means it's going to be weird because we're sus of him already.
And it's also going to be mind game based.
Yeah.
Like, all of Quintus's games are puzzle based.
Well, this one, they're attacked by a giant scorpion, so I don't know how mind based that is. That seems pretty tangible
because the way that
me.
you have to kill the scorpion is special or something, isn't it, in the book?
I think so. They try to find a place to hide and squeeze between boulders. They know it must be the entrance to a tunnel. When they emerge from the entrance, it's revealed that they have actually discovered the entrance to the labyrinth. Whoa. They have... I almost switched into Spanish right there. I was like, that wasn't Spanish, but my brain was trying to switch. They accidentally discovered an entrance to the labyrinth, a magical underground maze.
So, quickly, the labyrinth
is a labyrinth. Moving on.
Is a labyrinth. Anybody see the David Bowie film Labyrinth? It's fucking amazing. Magic Dance.
You still haven't shown it to me.
You of all people, I can't think of a movie better suited for you.
Well, then show it to me.
Let's watch it.
I challenge you.
Okay. Dance fucking Magic Dance.
What is that?
You'll see.
I mean, I do like a good boogie woogie, so...
So, the Labyrinth.
A magical underground maze, which also... huge, unplottable.
It's the whole point of the labyrinth in the Theseus myth is that it's so difficult and complex that there is literally no way to escape it.
Well, the lore of this version of the labyrinth is that it spans the entire country.
Yes.
So you can be in they're in Long Island, New York, and then eventually later they get to Arizona or New Mexico or something, which is funny because that's also where something had happened at one point. On their, sorry, I just yawned. On their trek. So, a magical underground maze under Zeus's fist within the heart of the camp. What is Zeus's fist? I am very confused.
I don't
know. Okay, Zeus's fist is a pile of rocks in the forest of Camp Half-Blood, shaped like a large fist. Ever since the Battle of the Labyrinth, it has been considered cursed.
Well, it kind of makes sense because Camp Half-Blood is magic with all the gods and everything, and it's shrouded in the mist. And the way that we've seen so far with Camp, that it's sort of like a shortcut to a lot of, or for a lot of things that have to do with the magic of the gods.
So actually Annabeth jumps in and reveals that the secret mission Clarice had undergone during the Titan's curse was finding an entrance to the labyrinth, which is now known to be Zeus's fist. Right?
Yes.
Very cool. It's like she went on a little advanced version of a freaking scavenger hunt in her own backyard.
And it was right there the whole time.
Yeah, go sniff it out, you bloodhound. It's like...
Yeah, you'd think somebody would have figured that out by now, but...
Well, they had a child do
thanks, Chiron.
I like how the literal... was this a prophecy or whatever set upon by the Oracle? For
Not
Clarice?
About the labyrinth specifically, as far as we know.
Clarice was on a mission, or it was her quest?
When Clarice was on her quest,
that was with the boots. That was with the sea monsters.
No, but I guess...
But because my thing is I like how the gods are just so fed up with things not happening that they're having children do it for them.
Wait. I remember. So Clarice, when she went on her quest, that was Sea of Monsters. That was book 2. So during the events of the Titan's Curse, when Percy and the gang are all kind of doing what's going on in the Titan's Curse, Apparently, they're explaining now in book 4 that Clarice was on her own mission.
Gotcha.
It
wasn't a part of her quest.
I don't think it was a quest. Like, I don't think she got an oracle prophecy for it. I just think it was something like Chiron assigned to her.
I think it's funny though that Chiron couldn't find it, so he's like, "You girl, go find the entrance to the mythical labyrinth."
Whose godparent has nothing to do with fucking direction or puzzles or anything that would have to
architecture.
Do with, or that would have to do with the labyrinth in any capacity.
Or like Daedalus, or even like a remote relationship. I mean, they're all interrelated, but still, I'm like, girl, you there.
Well, the irony being, actually, my sort of headcanon is like, the irony being that the labyrinth of all of the Greek heroes is connected the most to Theseus, who's the son of Poseidon. So, like, it's kind of funny that when they're with the son of Poseidon, they fucking find this entrance. You didn't think maybe Percy could find it?
This is where I am convinced that age does not make you wiser. Because
Chiron,
these
what the
fucking Chiron. How old is this man?
Meanwhile, Mr. D... Meanwhile, Mr. D's just sitting in a lounge chair drinking a Diet Coke, like, doesn't give a fuck.
Diet Coke! It's
Diet Coke!
It's like that SNL sketch.
Yes. Diet Coke!
Alright, so they sorry, the tangents are gonna happen at this time. Finding an entrance to the labyrinth. She also explains that Luke Castellian...
Hey, Percy. What's up, Percy?
So
you want me to, like, fucking, like, mark you?
Mark you?
You want me to, like, kill you?
So Luke... Stop making that face. It's so off-putting. Oh my god. So Luke, who remember is working with Kronos, who's a traitor, who's a half-blood who's working with Kronos.
Because of his own misguided reasons.
Yes, which we've
talked about. He's a child at heart.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, our sort of opinion on Luke and how kind of weirdly understandable his quest is. Even to Percy, which is hilarious. But the point with this, that it's important that they discovered the labyrinth, is because if Luke figures out that there's an entrance,
it's a direct entrance right into camp.
So it can be
bypasses
used...
the protections of where Thalia's tree was,
which is still there, but Thalia's not there.
Well, I said where Thalia's tree was, like, she is no longer there, but the protections of her tree
exactly
are there.
So this is like literally like a secret tunnel,
and now they're gonna go into the thick of it,
into camp. So this is very important information.
All right, Annabeth leads a quest with Percy, so she receives her own quest.
Yes, she gets a prophecy from the Oracle, which she doesn't tell them what it is.
No. She doesn't tell us. Actually, we don't find out until chapter 19 out of chapter 20, which is, I thought, was like blue balling me, because I was like, come on, Annabeth, I want to know what I'm looking for this time, because it was interesting. It was very, very fun. How in the first book, when we had Percy's prophecy, I was able to kind of follow along and see, like, okay, we checked that box, we checked that box, we checked that box, and then we forgot, and we shall be betrayed by those who,
You'll be betrayed by one who calls you friend,
and you shall fail to save what matters most in the end. Look at me remembering that off the dome. Like, fuck yeah.
Slay.
It's the blue wine. So... I liked having that kind of blueprint. So, because even when I was reading, like, obviously as a 24-year-old adult at that time, I was like, oh, we didn't talk about the last part of the prophecy. I don't know what's going on this time. I have no idea.
Yeah, and you don't in Clarice's book either.
I know. But that's also, like, that I was okay with. But, like, this, because it was Annabeth, I was like, she's hiding something from us. She doesn't want Percy to know something.
And Annabeth never has a bad reason for doing anything,
She's very strategic with her stuff. So I knew it wasn't, like, malicious, but it was because she didn't want to believe something. I knew that she was smart enough to recognize. And even in the end, when she's like, I didn't think that it would be this, I'm like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You saw the direction your life was going and the lives of other people. You knew you didn't want it to be true. There are two different things.
Yeah. So it shows Annabeth has a heart.
She does. She also, it seems like that is her fatal flaw.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Well, here's the thing. I agree with you and disagree with you in that her fatal flaw is her pride, because that's Athena's fatal flaw. And that's what happens with the Sphinx when we get into later, which the fan wiki talks about. But I think that Annabeth in particular wrestles, this is sort of her character arc, which I think is the other sort of reason that her and Percy haven't, like, moved forward in their relationship. Hold on, bitch. Sorry, she's been...
I've had more wine than her.
Don't worry. So I think that the other reason that her and Percy haven't progressed in their relationship is that Annabeth is so analytical and intelligent and cares so much actually about what her mom thinks, and so much of what her identity is wrapped up in being like the daughter of the goddess of wisdom.
But in this, she's not accepting her wisdom, and she's using her emotion.
But that's the thing, is she's convincing herself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's her emotion to Percy and her emotions in general.
Wait, I don't understand. Are you agreeing with me or disagreeing with me?
I am. I'm
okay.
I agree with you.
All right.
I'm saying
yeah.
that
Go,
this,
Ronnie.
that this is an example of that yes, this is Annabeth's, like, one of Annabeth's fatal flaws. But I don't think
every hero needs one.
Yeah, but
let's just be clear.
I think my point, though, in clarifying, is that I don't think until the end of this book she would agree with you, because she's in denial about the fact that that is a fatal flaw.
Denial is a river in Egypt.
Because Percy's very aware of his flaws.
Oh yeah,
like Annabeth doesn't want to admit that flaw, despite being so smart and being smart enough to recognize it.
I think that's part of the thing about being a very smart person, though.
Yeah.
She thinks that she's smart enough to outsmart her flaws.
Yes.
But that's the thing about a fatal flaw, is that they cannot be overcome easily.
Yeah. And also her fatal flaw to somebody of like a lot of people who are intelligent have this issue that they see emotion as weakness.
Exactly.
Which I think is a good choice on Rick's part, that like she is so smart but is still thwarted by her emotions, but weirdly in a paradoxical way, like she's thwarted by her emotions, but she is so like in denial about that she's ironically being kind of dumb.
No, but that's the flaw.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting about it.
She is so hyper analytical that her emotions get in the way. So she leads a quest with Percy, Grover, and Tyson to find Daedalus. Rory. Daedalus.
So, however you
Daedalus.
say it, Daedalus,
Daedalus.
Daedalus. I said as a kid Daedalus, so and I'm American, so Daedalus. What about Daedalus, Ronnie?
I forget.
Who is he?
He's integral to the proceedings of the maze.
So Daedalus in the Greek myth is
he's the creator of the labyrinth and the maze. He
designed the labyrinth. He's the one who creates the labyrinth.
And he's the son of...
No, he's the father of Icarus.
Who's he the son of, though?
Nobody.
I thought he was Athena's son.
I don't know. But my point is, in the myth, Minos, the god Minos, not the god, the King Minos, whose wife birthed the Minotaur,
yes,
wants somewhere to put him, and so he asks Daedalus to build him this labyrinth, which I forget what happens in the myth, but basically Daedalus pisses him off and he locks him and Icarus in the maze. And so the way that they get out is building the wings, the wax wings, and that's when
I thought the wax wings were on a tower.
Were they? I always thought he locked them in the labyrinth. I could be wrong.
But how can you fly in the sky if you're locked in a labyrinth?
Because, I don't know, in the myth, the labyrinth, I don't think it's underground. I think it's just a maze.
But, like, okay.
I don't know. I thought
it was a tower. I could be so wrong.
I could be absolutely wrong.
I just remember these Greek animatics of like people flying out of a freaking.
It's been a while.
It could have been artistic kind of deviation.
Let's simplify. Long story short, he pisses off Minos. Minos locks him away. The only way for him and Icarus to escape is to build these wax wings. Icarus flies too close to the sun. The rest is history.
He married an Icarus who has flown too close to the sun.
Honestly, like, after reading 50 Shades of Grey, I can never fucking hear the name Icarus again, because
Mine's Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah.
She compares... Fucking Anastasia Steele compares herself to Icarus so many fucking times.
No, there's literally a line in Hamilton. You've married an Icarus who has flown too close to the sun.
I know. People love to use that analogy, but you know what? It's a good one.
It is a good one, but now I just imagine Philippa Sue's voice when I hear it. Okay. As soon as the group steps into the maze, it confuses them, shifting its walls, narrowing its passageways, basically gives them the good old shake-up, the ruffle and tumble. They make it into a Roman-styled room where they find the minor god Janus. He offers Annabeth a key to one of the doors behind him.
Oh, side note, sorry about Daedalus. I forgot to mention because this is important. In the myth of Theseus, when Theseus is about to go in the maze, Ariadne, Minos' daughter, is the one who
The
approaches...
daughter who is not a minotaur.
Well, yeah, the daughter isn't a minotaur. But the minotaur isn't Minos' son. It's the son of the
queen.
Of the queen and a bull who Zeus made her fuck.
A bull?
A bull. That's why he's half bull.
My deaf ass thought you meant like a mixing bowl.
Bitch, what? A bull? She fucked a bull. Well, she did fuck a bull, so, I mean, I guess that's not... Maybe a bull is less weird. But, yeah, you fucking moron. So Ariadne approaches Daedalus, and she's the one who asks him how to make sure Theseus doesn't die in the labyrinth. And Daedalus is the one who gives Ariadne the ball of twine.
Yes.
And she gives it to Theseus.
Yes.
And that's how he navigates the maze. Cave divers still use that method, so
yes.
Some things never change, guys. History is cool. And so are myths. So anyway.
So Annabeth is offered a key to one of the doors behind him. He forces her to make the choice when they are saved by the queen of Olympus, Hera. Hera, the goddess of the hearth and home and family and stuff.
Oh, you forgot to mention she gets the key from Janus.
I did say that.
No, you didn't. You just said she got a key.
I said he offers Annabeth a key. We were just talking about Janus.
No, we weren't. We were talking about Daedalus.
You interrupted me to talk about Daedalus because we forgot a part of the myth. I had already mentioned Janus.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Because it looks like Janice, and all I can think of is Janice Sarkeesian from the Mean Girls musical. Which was the hyperfixation of me for
so
like
Hera
5 years.
shows up.
Hera! She tells him that she has only delayed Annabeth's choice, and as the real reason for her visit was to offer them a wish.
Which is so funny because Hera is such a villain in so many Greek myths.
I know.
Because she's
well,
usually...
she has ulterior motives here, too.
She does here, too, but it's still funny for her, like, that it's actually kind of cool that Percy's the son of Poseidon because Hera really only has beef with Zeus's kids.
Yeah.
So, like, she's like, hey, what's up,
and
boy?
Therefore, his kids' kids.
Yeah.
So, Athena's kids. Therefore, Annabeth. So, there's some ulterior motive here.
I know, but it's still funny that she's nice to Percy.
I know. But it's because it's self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
Which we find out later. She tells them that she has only delayed Annabeth's choice, and as the reason for her visit was to offer them a wish. Annabeth wishes for a way to navigate the labyrinth. Hera answers that she wishes for something she has already been given before vanishing. Which was a non-answer, you bitch.
Well, you know what's funny? I remember being a kid and reading this book, and when Hera shows up offering a wish, like, it's so funny how fucking suspicious they all are. Mm-hmm. Like, they are so goddamn suspicious. They're like...
It's like, literally, like, you could hear their eyes go side to side, like, ding, 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 ding.
Like, what do we do? We can't say no, but we also don't want this.
Yeah, they literally have that internal monologue. Like, you can't turn down a gift from a god. Like, you just cannot turn down a gift from a literal divine projection.
But you know it's going to be horrible.
But it's going to be bad.
It's like, it makes me think of, like, Fairly Odd Parents with, like, Norm the genie. And it's like, wish for a glass of water or a cupcake. Like, something that, like, can't hurt you.
But the glass of water is going to be, like, absolutely massive.
Yeah. So, they're in a pickle.
All right. So, she vanishes. They leave the room and end up inside Alcatraz, where they manage, and Alcatraz, mind you guys, is in freaking California. Mm-hmm. So they go from New York to California. They traverse, if you will, multiple time zones. They go pan-continental across.
Bringing it back, bitch. Bringing it back.
Is that what? Transcontinental.
Whatever, bro. They get to Alcatraz and they rescue the 100-handed one.
Yeah, that guy.
So the 100-handers are creatures most famous for being featured in the myth of the Titanomachy. When the Titans fight the gods, they call upon the 100-handers. They also live in Tartarus.
And the 100-hand one, Briaris, is being rescued from Pompeii. Pompeii is a jailer, right, at Alcatraz, and an extremely powerful and monstrous ally of Kronos. So she was originally the jailer of Tartarus before Zeus arrived and destroyed her, after which she then freed the Cyclops and Hecatoncheires. So we do hear about Pompeii again later.
Mm-hmm.
And I say Pompeii because I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced because there's a little E with a hat on it. Pompeii?
So yeah, these are two people who both either have a really good reason to side with Kronos or a really good reason to resent Kronos because they both fought for him in the Titanomachy against Zeus.
Yes. So they rescue Briareus, though, the 100-handed one, from Pompeii. So we're hoping that Briareus turns onto our side, right?
Yeah, they're hoping that because Briareus is being treated like shit
by someone who's probably going to go to Kronos.
Yeah, that
like they won't go follow suit.
Like, hey, buddy, the Titans have been so bad to you.
Yeah. The group tries to convince Briareus to join them, but the 100-handed one has been so disheartened by the many years of imprisonment that he refuses. The group can do nothing but leave him as they move deeper into the maze.
He's like, why would I help anyone instead of just like be free?
Well, he's been wronged for millennia.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
get it.
One act of kindness does not make up for 10,000 years.
No, I get it. He's like, why would I do that?
Which is fair, but at least he was shown that kindness and he can make an informed decision about the current state of heroes.
Mm-hmm.
While in the Labyrinth, Percy continues to have dreams about Daedalus, how the old inventor's son Icarus dies, and how he indirectly kills his nephew, Perdix. So he keeps getting these images of this man, like this older man, right?
Which I have questions because of the reveal later. Like, if he's seeing Daedalus in visions, like, how different does he look now?
We haven't gotten there yet.
I'm just saying.
But, like, he's seeing Daedalus probably at the time of, like, these incidences, right?
I suppose so.
He's probably seeing, like, astral fucking projections of Daedalus, like, Icarus died.
He didn't want Icarus to die! What are you doing? What is that Dr. Evil face you just gave me? It's supposed to be tragic, Ronnie.
Oh, sorry. Icarus died!
Okay. I don't even know what to say to that. Okay, move on.
I'm sorry, the wine's definitely having a fun time with me right now.
The Triple G Ranch.
Triple G. All right. The four of them meet Nico D'Angelo at the Triple G Ranch, which... why?
I don't know.
I don't remember why Nico's there.
I don't know. I think he's just wandering around.
In the Labyrinth conveniently when Percy and his people are? That's fucking weird. That is so weird. It's like a stalker.
Well,
are you my stalker?
Don't forget, though, I will say, though, that the Labyrinth is underground, and Nico, being a son of Hades, like, has,
Does he have, like, sight down there?
I think it's like that he's drawn down there.
Okay.
And also Nico is just sort of like traipsing around aimlessly. And don't forget that things that are in the mist, like, supernatural Greek god shit, is attracted to half-bloods.
Yeah, I get that. But it's also weird that Nico was... It's weird. I'm sure it's intended. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just pointing out the obvious right here.
It's fine.
As a reader. It is odd that Percy is like, oh, Nico wants to find me. And then they show up to this random fucking Triple G ranch in the Labyrinth. In the freaking Labyrinth.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing, but I'm giving Rick the benefit of the doubt, and I'm just offering some explanations. And one of them is that Percy clearly is able to see the future to some extent. Yeah. Percy, since the first book, has been able to see the future to some extent.
Yeah, it's not that I think it's weird or like a winky dink. Like, I think there's a reason behind it, but I think it's because it's implied that Percy has some sort of clairvoyance to him.
Yes,
that's what I mean by weird. Not like weird sus, like, oh, how convenient. Like weird as in like, shit,
what's going on there?
What's going on there? So, Percy makes a deal with Garyon.
Gayron. I was literally waiting. I was like, did she just say Gayron?
It is Pride Month. I'm sorry, guys.
Happy Pride, y'all.
He does speak with a like a Texan accent in this. He speaks with a Western accent.
Garyon.
To let Percy and his friends, including Nico, which, They're friends now. They're not just like, acquaintances. I know you. You could be the other guy in the prophecy who turns the tide of the war.
Crazy.
Oh my god. Okay.
Please be you.
Well, don't be you because
Oh my god, is that where Sarah J. Maas got her idea for like Aelin and Dorian? Because this came out
Probably.
first.
Considering her like proclivities to stealing from the Black Jewels, I would not be surprised. All right, so Percy and his friends.
Considering she hasn't had an original thought in her whole fucking life. Anyway, keep going.
That was my point.
Yeah.
Thank you for mansplaining my point.
Well, just in general, because
I
she
know.
doesn't just steal from the Black Jewels; she steals from like everything. Lord of the Rings,
Lord of
like,
the
every movie she's ever seen.
What are the Lings?
I said Lord of the Rings.
What are Lings? What else did she steal from it?
Every movie she's ever fucking seen, considering everything she writes is tropey as hell.
Booty and the Beast.
Booty and the Beast. Hades and Persephone. I bet you
Literally.
this bitch read Percy Jackson. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway.
So the stables.
He needs to clean the stables of the man-eating horses.
So the man-eating horses.
I don't get why Grover couldn't have just done it because, like, he got hooves. He could just say, like, "Hey, hoovy man, like my my hoovy compadre was."
Because they're man-eating horses, Ronnie.
But he's a goat.
And they would eat him.
But he's not a man.
He's half man, and they eat anything.
They're not half man eating goats.
Veronica. Okay. So for those of you again who recognize the reference, the man-eating horses are from the myth of Hercules.
Yes.
Where he has to clean out the Garyan stables.
So now Percy though is absolutely fantastic.
Because he's good with horses.
I was also gonna say because he's good with water,
I know, I'm kidding.
but he is good with horses. Remember, he can talk to horses.
He could talk
Because
to
I'm
horses.
talking in Long Island right now.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
We're gonna go with that. I don't know where that came out of. Anyway, so Percy returns successful because he's able to call. There's a river down, right? There's a river at the end of the Triple G Ranch.
Yeah.
And he's able to summon it up. And he's like,
Because that's what happens in Hercules.
He's kind of like standing there like. He's like summoning the power of.
Yes. He unleashes his power.
He's unleashing his water power.
Yes. Well, it's a cool reference because
Oh, yeah.
Hercules does not quite the same thing, but in the myth, he diverts the river to clean the stables.
But now Percy can do it without lifting a finger. Because remember, he's also on a time constraint.
Yes, he is.
He's like on a ridiculous time constraint. He has like 10 minutes or no.
I don't know, but it is funny. It's like he gives him like no time to do
To
this.
clean this, like, and like whatever he's looking at, it's like an acre of freaking shit everywhere.
Yeah, but it's actually like one of the, I remember this scene from the book. It's one of the funnier scenes in the book because this motherfucker, Garyan, literally has no idea that Percy's the son of Poseidon. Like,
No.
has no clue when he comes back. Like,
And Percy comes back early from the event, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
after doing his shit to find all of his friends bound and gagged. And Gayron reminds Percy, Garyon,
Gayron. Aaron.
Garyon reminds Percy that he didn't swear upon the River Styx, and therefore the deal is void. So because he didn't have a notary, fuck that.
This is why you always have your attorney present.
Always have your attorney present. In this case, it's the freaking River Styx.
This is a breached contract. Take him to Judge Judy's court. She'll
Yeah.
rule in his favor.
Percy defeats Garyon. There we go. By shooting an arrow guided by Hera sideways through his body, hitting his 3 hearts. We don't know that it's Hera that helps him, though, in this moment, correct?
I don't think so, right?
So, forget I said that. Percy defeats Garyon, there we go, by shooting an arrow sideways through his body and hitting his 3 hearts.
Yay!
Did it sound like a rewind and like a fix? Because like that was like really good. I almost did the exact same inflection too. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I'm impressed with myself.
Look at you, Ronnie.
I'm just sitting on my chair a bit different. Okay. Nico refuses to leave with them, and they summon the ghost of Bianca D'Angelo. Remember, his sister who died. She fucking dead. Like, she's deader than dead. Like, Miss Keisha! Oh my god, she's fucking dead.
Which, look, I get that Nico is sad and like
He's
I know
grieving. He's a boy.
I know it's not quite the same, but he can talk to ghosts whenever he wants. Like, He can literally talk to Bianca whenever he wants. And also, I think Nico is allowed to pass into the underworld, like, unimpeded. Like,
Yes.
I think Cerberus lets him in. Like, the whole thing.
It's implied because later he says he goes and speaks to people.
Yeah, so I'm like, I get that you would rather Bianca be alive just because of convenience, but you could literally go spend time with her whenever you want.
Yeah.
Because she's in the underworld. It's not like, she died and it's like, oh, we don't know what happened to her. Like, she's in the underworld. That's literally where she is.
Well, it's revealed in this kind of summoning of the ghost of Bianca that it wasn't Nico who was calling the iris messages to Percy, but Bianca who was calling them to clue Percy into Nico's plans.
And what Nico is up to.
Bianca asked Nico to forgive Percy because her death was not his fault. She gives one final word of warning about the fatal flaw of the children of Hades, which is holding grudges, before disappearing. Nico still refuses to leave with Percy and his friends, and Erutian offers to let him stay for a while, which is another person at the ranch.
Yeah, I think so.
Erutian, for context, Ares is his father, and he's an immortal demigod, son of Ares and Erethia, and he was a herdsman for Geryon. So he was like an employee, I guess you want to call him.
Yeah, because remember, a cool facet of Greek mythology is that not everyone who's born of a human and a god is mortal. Like people like Artemis and Apollo have a human mother, but they are immortals. Mm-hmm. So not everybody who's a half-blood is mortal the way that Percy is, or that Heracles or any of Theseus or any of them are. You could literally be born immortal.
Mm-hmm. So Erutian also offers to help them find Hephaestus, who will help them find the way to Daedalus's workshop by giving them a spider automaton, which then I'm like, what are we in like sci-fi right now?
What are you talking about? The spiders were in the first book.
It's an automaton, but still, I just like
the robotic spiders were in the first book. I
still don't like it.
It is so in keeping with his character.
No, I get it's with his freaking character, but come on, when we find out what we find out later, it just makes it weird, man. I'm like, what the hell? Are we in a fantasy or are we in sci-fi?
It is fueled by magic. It's like Skyrim. You ever play Skyrim?
I'm not a loser.
Shut the fuck up. Skyrim is D&D, but in a video game, and I love it.
Anyway. Which lead them to the god of the forges. Once back in the labyrinth, the foursome match with a sphinx.
Oh yeah, they run into the Sphinx.
I know you love this scene. Do you want to go through it? Because it shows Annabeth, right?
Okay, so
and that's your girl.
I haven't read this in a while, but I'm looking at the fan wiki and I also have memories. So you jump in.
You have memories?
Yes, you jump in where necessary.
Okay.
But what's cool about this scene?
I don't remember most of this.
So what's cool about this scene? So the Sphinx is from the myth of Oedipus.
Yes.
And the famous riddle that everybody knows from the Sphinx is what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 in the evening. And the answer is man. And that's how Oedipus defeats the Sphinx. So the whole point of the Sphinx is that the only way to defeat it is to be clever. And so this is like a perfect job for Annabeth.
And this is her quest, mind you guys.
So of course the Sphinx is like, they're like, oh, we know the answer to the riddle. And the Sphinx is like, bro, I haven't used that one for fucking, centuries. Everybody knows the answer. And the way Rick does it is in true Rick fashion. And so he makes it a game show.
Yes.
So
and Annabeth refuses to participate.
Yes, she won't participate. So the Sphinx gets very upset about this.
And Annabeth refuses to participate because she doesn't want to be wrong.
Yes, she's afraid to be wrong about the riddle answers.
And can I just say, I'm going to be very, very honest right now and say that's probably my fatal flaw too. Like, I'm so hesitant to participate in intellectual kind of debates because I don't want to be wrong.
Well, it's also a lot of pressure on Annabeth because it's sort of like, she's in a situation where the only way to defeat this monster is through answering riddles correctly, and then it's sort of like, oh, go be the smart person, and that's a lot of pressure.
It is. I say that as someone who has filled that shoe
Yeah.
before.
You know,
Shoes,
not
plural.
to brag.
Not to brag,
But look, I mean, me and Ronnie both can relate. I mean, the character she always
Rory's
said,
a fucking genius, just so you guys
oh,
know.
please stop. But like the character I relate the most to is Annabeth Chase, and you've said that the character you as a child related to was Hermione Granger, and like they're very similar in the sense that they're very intellectual girls.
I related to Hermione because I find that I'm very book smart. I know like the text, I know the facts, but I have more of a difficult time operating in the world, which is where Hermione struggled at times with like her emotional regulation and stuff like that. So that's where I found like my sense of kinship with Hermione herself.
Yeah, Annabeth has a little bit of a rougher edge.
Yes, which is why you definitely
I related to.
Hermione cries at everything, which I also do that.
Yeah, Annabeth's almost a little too harsh, which, I mean, anyone who knows me, I feel like understands
At times.
why I would relate to that.
Your bark is worse than your bite.
But you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that for us anyway, and we're sharing because it's, you know, part of the experience of the podcast, and also because I think other people who like this sort of content can relate, is like when you're the designated, you know, nerdy person, like, or smart person in the crew,
huge expectations set on you.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, like from the world, from your parents, from yourself. And so like Annabeth is starting to feel some of it. Was good for Rick to have that kind of representation of like being intelligent is like you know, great, but it's also kind of
It's a burden.
It's a burden. Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I'll say even like at work, I'm often deferred to with questions on like higher level stuff. And I'm like always hesitant to answer because I'm like, I don't know if I'm right. Like I can deduce, I can use my inferencing skills, I can use the context I have, but like it's definitely a weight. And I did like this scene. Like it's ringing bells now that we're like talking about it. Like I've really related to Annabeth in this moment because I'm like, when you're told that your smarts have to get you out of a sticky situation, your smarts are the last thing that you believe in.
Well, it's also because it's double fold, because number one, anytime, you know, people defer to you as being like the most informed person or the smartest person in the room, and they expect you to have an answer to something. And that's something I struggle with even in law school, is that like my job is going to be a professional person who has answers to things that generally layman people might not know that are very important to them. And it's like when you get to that point, it's like they expect you to have the answer. And so you have this like double pressure because the stakes are both high in the sense that if you get it wrong, there's bad consequences, but also the stakes are high because generally people have put you up on this platform of having this skill, and it's like it starts to become part of your identity because that's what people tell you are.
You are smart.
And
it feels like if you are not smart in that moment,
and you don't
what
live
are you?
Right, if you don't live up to that expectation, it's also embarrassing.
Exactly.
And it's like almost image destroying that your own self-perception and self-worth and self-esteem, especially for a kid, like
I feel like for some people they thrive under that, and some people they shy under that. Some people can either become very, very motivated internally to be the smartest they can be and they excel, or some people recede.
Yeah, and I think this is cool just because the book is told from Percy's perspective. And what I kind of love about this is that Percy, as much as he like, you know, complains about Annabeth in the sense that she's kind of like, you know, a hard ass and all this stuff, and she gives him a hard time, he's kind of actually put her on a bit of a pedestal, like in terms of like how he's relied on her to have all the answers, and like how
He's smart though too.
He is. Percy doesn't give himself enough credit, but I'm saying that like he's put Annabeth on this like pedestal of like the fact that not only is she intelligent, but Annabeth's always really kept her cool.
Yeah.
You know, and so this is like the first time he's like, oh shit, like
She's not cool.
Maybe she, you know, it's a little bit humanizing, and I think he has a little bit of compassion for her. Like this is really Annabeth's arc book.
I really, really enjoyed this scene.
Yeah, so it was great, and it was cool that he subverted expectation, because of course you're like, oh, perfect, the Sphinx, Annabeth's got this in the bag, and the fact that she chokes is like super subversive and unexpected, and I just love Rick for that.
And it's kind of presented as if, like, oh, these questions are beneath me, so I'm not going to bother answering them. But we know that's not the case, which is so insightful. And I can't wait to see this being played out on screen.
Well, also, last thing, sorry.
No. We're talking about deep shit over here.
But also the thing that I do like, though, that he uses as well is that Annabeth, in a way, even though she's afraid to answer the questions and is questioning her own intelligence, is still proving to the audience once again just how smart she actually is, in the sense that she also, I think in this scene, questions the Sphinx's sincerity. Like, she could just change the answer. You know, so it's kind of like her both doubting herself, but also you're like, well, that was a very smart person thing to think, that one of your concerns is that she's just going to change what the answer is, that you're going to answer, and she's just going to, you know, pull the rug out from under you and say that's not the answer, something else is the answer, and that she's lying.
True.
So it's kind of like, you know, it's very layered.
It's showing her weakness, but also her sense of foresight.
Yes. It's very cool. It's a good scene.
And then something happens with Tyson.
Yes.
So the Sphinx attacks in retaliation to Annabeth, kind of saying, I'm not doing this. But the gang members manage to escape with the help of Tyson tackling it in midair.
Which was so cute because Tyson loves Annabeth, and it's almost like for Annabeth.
Annabeth!
It's adorable.
And this is kind of his redeeming arc because he was abused by a Sphinx when he was living in an alley in New York. They meet Hephaestus, who tell them that he will divulge everything they would want to know about Daedalus if only they would find out who is invading his forges in Mount St. Helens and why.
So, two things. It's really cool that Hephaestus has a forge in Mount St. Helens. That's iconic. But also, like, it's a little stupid. Like, I'm sorry, Rick, but this is so kind of dumb because, like, the first thing you would think, knowing that, like, Kronos is rising and that, like, Luke's building it, like, why wouldn't you think that those people are the people invading the forge of the literal, like, you know, blacksmith of the gods? Put some pieces together, bro.
Blacksmith equals weapons. We get weapons.
They're like, it's like, oh yeah, I'll tell you everything you want to know if you tell me who's invading my forge in Mount St. Luke.
It's Luke.
It's Luke. It's fucking Luke.
So the four start towards the forges when Grover senses. That's with his cloven little senses.
Sniffing it out.
The presence of Pan. Not all. The god. The four split up. So they decide that in order to continue with the quest, they need to go on their respective journeys. Percy continues the quest with Annabeth.
Some alone time. I've been feeling sad.
While Tyson accompanies Grover. Less romantic. Percy and Annabeth discover who create the creatures using Hephaestus' forge jar. As they scout the area, Percy is spotted by Telechines, and he is forced to fight them off. For context, Telechines, also spelled Telechines or Telechines, are mysterious smiths and sea demons native to the islands of Chaos and Rhodes. Their parents are either Pontos and Gaia or Tartarus and Nemesis, or else they were born from the blood of castrated Uranus, along with Furies. So basically, they're little shits, and they're going to stand in the way. And he tells Annabeth to get out of there and report back to Hephaestus. To Percy's surprise, Annabeth kisses him because she believes him.
Okay, so wait, I have to talk about this scene. So this is the first Persebeth kiss. This will have a choke on the young life of Rory for many years. Embarrassingly long. I may or may not have had a fan account. Anyway,
That is news to me.
So, I love Persebeth. Part of that is personal reasons, because the first person I ever loved in my life kind of looked like Percy Jackson, and I kind of looked like Annabeth, and then I had this sort of like girlish fantasy in my brain. But anyway,
I knew that part.
Yeah, but anyway, I love this scene so much. It's so cute. She literally, like, he's literally like, okay, you gotta go back to Festus, and she just grabs him by the shirt and kisses him. And what does she say to him, Ronnie? Do you remember? Good luck, seaweed brain. And she just runs off. I'm like, yes.
And she's like going off without a question. She's like, oh, wait, bye.
Bye. Although splitting up is really a bad idea, but whatever.
So, to Percy's surprise, like I said, Annabeth outnumbered, Percy summons water from within himself to defeat the monsters, but the resulting explosion caused the volcano to erupt and sends him shooting into the air as he loses consciousness.
So he's shot up in a fucking volcano. And this next part of the book, I love this part of the book.
And I feel like we're about halfway.
Oh, are we?
I feel like we are.
Time to take a break.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm sorry. I'm 25 now. I've definitely become a different person. I'm not leaving in stupid snippets. Unlike this one, we are recording.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. We've got an audience member now, too, by the way.
Lou's hanging back as he usually does.
So, now we're on to Calypso. So, now, like, as we've kind of talked about in previous Percy Jackson episodes, and I feel it's always worth reiterating because it is really a testament to Rick's writing prowess. The fact that he divides his book up into little sagas in and of themselves. Mm-hmm. So we had the saga of the camp, and then we had the saga of finding the labyrinth, we had the saga of finding the ranch, we had now the saga of the Calypso's
Island, which is so iconic in the Odyssey, and was just a really cool anecdote. So get into it, Ronnie.
So when Percy comes to, he finds himself on the phantom island of Ogygia. Ogygia. I don't know why I made like a little Trump hand.
I don't know why you did that either, but you know,
Ogygia.
At this point, I don't question.
Percy meets its resident, a girl named Calypso, who is a daughter of Atlas and a Titan.
Who we remember Atlas from book 3,
holding up the freaking world.
Yeah,
the weight of the world on this man's shoulder. This
literally
shoulders.
Titan's shoulders.
This Titan's shoulders.
Literally.
This man. You know what? He must have an impeccable back and shoulder day at the gym.
I bet brother never wants to see anything heavy ever again, quite
brother
frankly.
Is like, can I please just become like a couch potato and never lift anything ever in my life again?
Yeah, pretty much.
He feels an immediate attraction to her. This child to Calypso, might we say.
Who, by the way, in the Odyssey, literally fucks Odysseus for like 7 years.
But he was an adult.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is a boy falling in love.
Exactly. That's my point. This is so weird.
It's so odd. So he immediately she in turn falls in love with him and offers him a choice: to stay with her and become immortal, or to leave to help his friends.
Which is basically the same choice she gives Odysseus. That like Odysseus could just stay on her island forever.
And Odysseus stays on her island for like what, 7 years?
7 years.
7 years. And then Hermes and Athena. Or Hermes through the orchestration of Athena.
Yeah, he gets the anti-drowning scarf and he's like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Boom.
My echolalia is
It's very tragic.
And offers him a choice. She gives Percy time to consider this. Hephaestus then visits them and privately explains to Percy what truly happened in Mount St. Helens. He mentions that the energy Percy had unleashed had actually resulted in an earthquake that might have awakened Typhon.
Which makes sense because Poseidon is the god of earthquakes.
So Typhon, also known as Typhoeus, is the last and most powerful child of the Earth's goddess Gaia, also known as the storm giant or father of all monsters.
So Typhon is very significant to the story, as I mentioned, of the Titanomachy, which is the battle between the gods and the Titans, in which
the most powerful foe the Olympians have ever faced.
Exactly. So when the gods and the Titans are duking it out for control of Olympus and Zeus eventually emerges victorious, Typhon was their big baddie final boss that they whipped out.
Even more than Kronos.
Even more than Kronos. Typhon is the biggest baddie of all the baddies of the Titans. He's scary as hell.
So Percy accidentally may have unleashed the biggest bad that the Olympians have ever faced accidentally while trying to face one of the other biggest bads the Olympians have ever faced. So now this single threat turned into a double-decker threat. Rory, do you know what a double-decker is?
A double-decker? In what contexts?
Toilets?
In toilets? Okay, we're not having this fucking conversation. We are not devolving into talking about your shit anymore.
I like how that's just like it's not my shit. I've never done a double-decker. It's where you shit.
Oh, I'm so glad you had to clarify that for me.
It's where you shit in the bowl and the reservoir.
I was making... Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, listeners. Now we know that information.
Now, not only do we have a massive dump on Kronos, but we have the double-decker that is Typhon.
The face Lou is making is so, like, judgmental.
As he's reading 1984.
I know. He it's like, you're so much better than us. Okay, keep going.
I know it. With his squeaky little voice.
So, Hephaestus tells Percy what?
He gives him a hint about how to navigate the maze, and he disappears into a pillar of fire. Percy makes his decision and decides to tell Calypso his choice at daybreak. His decision to return does not surprise Calypso. Before leaving, she gives him a sprig of moonlace to plant in Manhattan for her, which is really cute.
Yeah.
Because she's like, if you can't have me, have a piece of me.
Yeah. And it's also sad because when she says that to him, that scene was so moving to me as a kid.
It's also, everyone forgets that Calypso's stuck on this island too.
Yeah, like she literally can't leave.
She can't leave. So anyone who comes her way every however many hundreds, thousands, tens years, she's like, please stay. I don't want to be alone anymore.
Right. So I was going to bring that up because even as a kid, I remember thinking like that at least a part of me wanted Percy to leave because I think even Percy, not that he says this, kind of recognizes that Calypso's love, even though she's like a good person, is ingenuine because it's like she, of course, will fall in love with whoever is willing to stay with her.
It's love out of
necessity
and last resort.
Right. So like Calypso is really, but what I love about Rick is that he doesn't talk down to his audience. Like even though it's children who are reading this book, he makes it so clear just what a tragic fucking figure Calypso is in her own
island.
Like on her, yeah.
It's Calypso's island, yet she is the prisoner of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh, whoa. Spitting fire over here. But, yeah, Lou's like, nah. But...
Shut the fuck up. Let me have this.
It's my birthday.
For 50 more minutes, let me have this.
So, like, I think it's really cool that he is sort of imparting like clink the tragedy. Like this is actually kind of a grown-up theme for a children's book, like just how tragic of a character she is.
That's how you do it. Get them while they're young and
but
impressionable.
I just mean like I think that I love that he gives his own readers who are children more credit, you know, like that he doesn't think they're too stupid to get that.
No.
You know, which I appreciate because I think it's underestimating your readers that creates poor literature, quite frankly. Yeah, basically. So, you know, anyway, he tells Calypso he's off, and that scene is really heartbreaking, and she's basically like, yeah, like everybody who's ever been on this island has chosen to leave me, so.
Well, fair.
I'm not shocked.
She sends him on his way back to camp by giving him a magical raft to sail on, and he travels the sea. He cannot help but think that she would always be his biggest what if, which, Lewis showed me a meme earlier, like how you feel if like all your friends are pedophiles or perverts or whatever, and it's like a dolphin jumping out of the sea, and like that's kind of what I imagine here. Like she's not a what if, she's a fucking like 1,000-some-odd-year-old like demigoddess. So it's like it's definitely not the same thing.
How you feel if all your friends are perverts. When all your friends are perverts, it's like that meme with the dolphin like jumping out of the water from like a Barbie
with
movie
rainbows.
or something. What?
With rainbows.
Yeah, with rainbows.
But this is like pedophile version. Because
this
14.
scenario is because he is a child, but
he's 14, Lewis.
Okay, well the meme was actually funny, and you're making me sound like a creep.
Sorry.
That's Percy right now. So,
yeah, that always, I don't know,
rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah,
personally.
that rubbed me the wrong way when I was reading the book as a kid. But I think I was more wrapped up in the tragedy of Calypso as a child. Like I felt so much sympathy for her and so much like sadness for her that I kind of ignored it. But you know what I think the what if is more about? That I think that on surface, if you take it at face value, it would rub you the wrong way because you're like, what about Annabeth? Like, what the fuck? You knew this girl for what? A few, like, days, basically, is what he's on the island. But I think that Calypso is representative of, like, a chance for Percy to escape his fate.
Oh, yeah. Most certainly.
You
but
know?
Still, it's just weird, like, how this synopsis words it, like, oh. Because she was like, I'm in love with you. Stay with me forever. And he's like, no.
Yeah,
what if?
I
think I know it's multifaceted, but still, it's just like I don't know. It would have felt really groomy to me, and I know that's like a more modern concept, but still.
No, I get what you're saying, but I mean symbolically, I think what Rick is going for.
What he's going for, but what it would be perceived as if it was published now.
Yeah,
are two totally different things.
So I think what the point of it was is that as much as Percy's like really brave and really in the last couple books has like embraced the fact that he thinks that he is the chosen one. He is the one for the prophecy, and he's sort of like come to terms with that. I think that this is an indication in the back of his head.
He's ready to assume that role.
Yeah, the fact that he chooses to come back, because
exactly.
I think that his consideration of not is showing that he thinks about not doing it.
He had a golden opportunity to literally slip into nothingness
and not do it. But it's showing Percy is a true Greek hero, that he's like, I am the one, I'm going to do it. But I like that it's a character moment, that it shows you that he is human and he does like consider it. I think not for Calypso's sake, but for the sake of like, maybe he is tired. Maybe he doesn't want to do this hero thing anymore.
Which is, again, incredibly fair considering the amount of like stress and danger he's been in only the last 3 years.
Yeah, but it's very Odysseus-like, you know? And like Odysseus is like the epitome of Greek heroes because he embodies everything that a Greek hero is. And I think
should be.
And I think Percy is modeled in a fashion after that.
Well, considering how Rick models his books off of the Odyssey, I would say that is not a far stretch.
Yeah, probably more than any other thing in the
with his little epics inside of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought this was a cool moment, and I think that's what the whole point of that was. I agree with you that the wording is a little bit strange because I don't
in the wiki at least.
Yeah,
because in the book I remember not feeling this way, but now I feel some sort of way.
Yeah, I think it's just more symbolic of like that. This was Percy's chance to potentially
just poking fun.
Yeah, I know.
For
I get
the
it.
sake of entertaining commentary. Are you entertained, folks?
Yes. Are you not entertained?
I am entertained.
But I just thought it was a cool moment because it's like, of course, it's so quintessential a hero's journey, which in and of itself is so meta because like Greek mythology is the template for the hero's journey.
I hate to do it, but the hero's journey, this kind of same moment happens at King's Cross when Harry is killed by Voldemort and he decides if he wants to go back or if he wants to stay.
Right, but like what I love about Percy Jackson is the fact that all of these moments that are like hero's journey moments feel even more impactful because Greek mythology is the template for the hero's journey. I mean, it's so cool.
I'm not negating that, but I'm saying every hero's journey has its moment. And if you look at another very popular one, my Percy Jackson, which would be Harry Potter, has that in the King's Cross station. Where I absolutely agree with you. I mean, like that is sort of my
like how it makes me feel.
And Odysseus's is Calypso's Island.
Is in fact Calypso's Island.
Which, Rick, you could have got a bit more creative with that. But
You know what? We're going with it.
So Percy returns to the camp only to find it completely empty. Like, tumbleweed. He approaches the amphitheater where it becomes.
Wait, did you just say tumbleweed? That's actually so funny. Sorry. Go ahead.
Where it becomes apparent that his burial shroud is being burned and everyone is present.
Oh yeah, they literally think
because they think he's fucking dead.
I forgot about that.
They fucking think he's dead.
He comes back like fucking Bilbo when they're selling off all his stuff. Like...
Yeah, they literally think he's dead. He sees that Annabeth has made it back and makes his appearance. And though Annabeth makes a scene, the whole camp seems relieved that he is alive. They're like, oh shit, put out the fire, put out the fire, put out the fire. Like, where's the fire blanket where's the fire blanket that every 20-some-year-old, like, living alone or with a partner got for Christmas this year? Literally, I got a fire blanket. My best friend got a fire blanket. Did you get a freaking fire blanket? Everyone got a fire blanket. Throw it over the pyre.
Dude, the way this scene, I remember reading this, like, is so fucking funny. Because he's like, what the fuck, guys? And they're like, oh, sorry, like, kicking the fire. Like, it's so great.
Percy tells Chiron and Annabeth his plan after he figures out the hint that Hephaestus gave him, and soon the two campers head into the mortal world to look for the one person they know that could guide them in the labyrinth. Red. Rachel Elizabeth Dare. So the trio go back to the labyrinth and go look for both Daedalus's workshop and for Grover and Tyson, because those two are still down there. Don't you guys forget. They were about to have Percy's funeral without his half-brother.
Yeah, basically. And
which is kind of upsetting.
They're still looking for Pan. Tyson and Grover are still on their pan hunt.
They're panhandling?
They're panhandling? They're on their pan hunt. I'm gonna go save Pan.
I'm gonna go save Pan. I'm gonna go save Pan. Rachel reveals how she can see the correct path as a faint brightness on the floor, almost like a string, right?
One might say.
Oh my gosh, I think I know who her parents are.
No, Rachel's just a human.
Fuck.
But she's important.
Freckle frickle fuck.
She's important for a different reason.
Well, because she wants to fuck Percy, and it gives a
conflict
that puts her in the Annabeth.
She does, but that's not why she's special.
Let me take that back. I'm so sorry. I'm used to us talking about, like, Feyre and those guys. I do not mean to be crass about 14-year-olds. I am so sorry. No, like, genuinely, I am so sorry. That just slipped out. I'm so used to us talking about fucking.
Like, well, because the books we read are normally so vulgar.
Yes. This is literally the only non-vulgar book that we've read in book series. No. She wants to smooch him inside of
She wants to give him a little kissy.
Inside of an enclosed slide on the playground.
My God. You guys will never know why that's so fucking funny to me, but go ahead.
They're suddenly captured by Luke's forces. Hey, Percy, I caught you guys.
Oh, yeah, they're captured, which, like, happens really quick, but, you know,
and they're led
fine.
to the arena of Antanius. I'm dyslexic, I think. Antaeus. Yes. Another son of both Poseidon and Gaia,
which is weird because Gaia
Poseidon's
is Poseidon's
fucking his grandma.
Yeah, his grandmother.
Fuck.
Right?
Now we can talk about fucking. Now we're back to these older people.
Okay,
that's
then.
weird. You know, these old young relationships that I always hear about. That's not what I was imagining.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
So wait, this is important though because this arena that Luke takes them to is like it's sort of like the chess game in Harry Potter. Like you have to go through it in order to
progress.
To progress.
You cannot pass unless you beat it.
Yes.
So, it becomes clear that Luke knows the arena is part of the path. In order to pass, he provides Antaeus. There we go. Entertainment in the form of gladiator fights.
Gladiatorial
fights.
What the
fuck is wrong with me?
Gladiator
fights. Because they share the same heritage through their father, Antaeus There we go. Takes a special interest in Perseus. The latter is given a turn to fight in the arena against another half-blood, Ethan Nakamura.
So this is like a first example of other half-bloods turning on the gods. So the whole thing with Ethan Nakamura is important because at this point Percy really has only come in contact with like Luke being a half-blood who's in cahoots with Kronos, but Ethan is like just another half-blood like Luke who is also chosen to side with the Titans.
Do we know who his parents are yet?
I forget, but
I know who they are because I did look it up because I thought I forgot it.
I don't think it matters.
Nemesis and a random human.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, wait. So that makes total sense. Sorry, this is all coming back to me now.
I just can't remember if we technically learned it here or if I learned it because I couldn't remember if I missed it and looked it up.
I don't think it's particularly like relevant in that way.
But he is on the Titan side.
But the reason why I'm going to bring up why his parents are important is because it comes up in the 5th book, not because of him specifically.
The Last Olympian?
Yes, not because of him specifically, but because this is a motivation of people like him, is that because his mother is Nemesis, who's a minor god, he doesn't have a cabin at Camp Half-Blood. So he was in the Hermes cabin. Like Luke. Like Percy and...
Like...
What do you mean?
Nico.
Oh, Nico. Like Nico.
Other motivation for potentially joining the Titan side. This kind of loops all the way back. I feel like this guy is placed in here, Ethan, is placed in here not only to remind us that other half-bloods exist who don't have a home, but the potential, the power, the strength of other half-bloods from minor gods.
Exactly. Like all of the children of the minor gods are basically discarded and like don't have anywhere to go.
So what about the child of Hades who has the potential to be the other leg of the prophecy?
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what I got from this.
Yes.
I know that might not have been Rick's intention, but that was my like takeaway from it.
Exactly. So that's why it is kind of important that Ethan's parents are Nemesis, because a lot of the children of the minor gods end up siding with Kronos.
Because they don't have a home, they're ostracized.
Exactly.
Well, they're not. They're still taken in by Hermes, but when the leader
that sucks, you know. Like...
But when the official leader of the Hermes cabin also turns to Kronos, how does that feel? When your figurehead turns to the bad guys,
yeah, exactly.
You don't see them as the bad guys; you see them as solace.
Yes. Which is a little bit dicey on Rick's part. I don't think it's intentional for him, but it is a little bit dicey that like the cabin headed and meant to take in all the outcasts. You know, I think like all the displaced outcasts who feel ostracized by society turn to evil, which, you know, maybe in some ways is true to life, that like people who feel lost like tend to fight for a cause that is violent, but at least it's proclaiming that it is doing things in their interest. You know, so, you know, maybe I take that back. Maybe it's not dicey. Maybe it's actually pretty smart. Anyway.
I think Rick has many layers to this.
Yeah.
So, though Percy clearly has the upper hand, he refuses to kill Ethan. This causes Antaeus in his rage to fight Percy himself. So, son of Poseidon versus son of Poseidon. Through trick... Oh, it also should be noted that laced throughout this frickin' arena are, like, skulls and decorations, and he, like, Antaeus is like, oh, this is all for my father, this is all for Poseidon, and Percy feels some sort of way about this. He's like, my dad, I don't think would like this. Like, my dad, I don't like that my dad this is being done in my dad's name.
Mm-hmm.
Our dad's name, if we're getting, like, specific. Through trickery and wits, Percy manages to slay Antaeus. Luke orders his forces.
Doesn't have a problem with killing Antaeus, but like totally not going to kill Ethan.
Well,
I get it, because Antaeus can regenerate, but it's still kind of funny.
It's also
out of context. It's kind of funny.
It's also kind of implied that Ethan doesn't want to be fighting to the death.
Yeah.
Where Antaeus gets some sick, twisted pleasure from it because he expects to win. Mm-hmm. So I understand, and I think that Percy showing Ethan Nakamura mercy will come back in the next book. It will play a significant role. I think his hesitation to fight someone who is vehemently for the Titan cause, it will it will turn the tides in his favor in some regard. I feel like Ethan is a character that we will be revisiting.
Okay.
Luke orders his forces to slay them. However, Percy uses the Stygian ice whistle Quintus had given him earlier and summons Mrs. O'Leary, the bloodhound, the massive bloodhound. The three, along with Ethan, escape, but as soon as they are far from the arena, Ethan leaves them.
Yeah, Ethan pieces out. He's like, I'm out, bitches.
Yeah, Ethan kind of is like, oh, I'm going to come with you. Psych.
I just want to live, bro.
But I think that as much as Ethan's presence in the arena, his hesitation in the arena also gives us clue to what the other Half-Bloods are feeling. And I know that we just discussed this, but they don't know what to do. They are beside themselves. They are homeless. They have no sense of solace, no sense of unity, no sense of brethren, because how many other siblings does he have, like from Nemesis? We don't really know. And even if we do, who's to say where they're siding? So I think it shows that these kind of Half-Bloods on the fence are going to be their target audience to kind of rally in the next book onto their side, away from Luke.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of cool that you say that because Nemesis...
Because I'm smart.
Well, okay, bitch. But, okay, because Nemesis is also the goddess of revenge. And what's kind of cool about that is, like, sort of the ancient...
Comeuppance or retaliation?
Well, it's revenge, but I was just gonna say that the ancient Greeks didn't have karma, like they're not Hindi.
I was gonna say, is it more like karma where he's gonna be spared?
So I think that to some extent the sort of Greek understanding of the ancient Greek understanding of revenge kind of encompasses that concept of like retaliation,
positive revenge versus neutral revenge,
right?
Versus negative
like
revenge.
Karma, effectively, because they, karma is a Hindi concept, but I think that it applies
had some
here.
Sort of equation. It just probably was listed under that nemesis thing, but yeah, I think that was a really good scene. It was definitely something to think about, and I don't say that because I'm lost for words, but genuinely because like it had a lot of layers. It gave us a lot more context, and Luke,
it was very dramatic. It was good escalation,
and I think we should mention that Luke was weirdly excited during this entire thing.
Well, there's there we go. There's indications through each book, because remember, Luke betrays Percy in the first book.
Well,
so like with
why he's happy?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, Luke is just like, oh, sweet, Percy might die.
Yeah.
And I'm good.
True. But I mean,
that's more so what I meant. Like,
I get what you mean.
The results did not directly impact him.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what's so interesting about Luke is what I was going to say is that through each book, Luke starts to become less and less human. Mm-hmm. Like he's...
Oh, yeah.
You know,
he
like,
does that in this book for sure.
So it's very interesting. Each progression, like every time we see Luke, it's like... Whew.
Each iteration of Luke.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like
who else has iterations?
It's like Darth Vader, like he's like the second to the big baddie.
Or the next person we're going to talk about.
Go ahead.
Daedalus. Because now we're at Daedalus's workshop.
Yes,
so that was actually a beautiful segue. Thank you, Lori. The group soon reaches Daedalus's workshop, where they find Quintus, who reveals himself to be
oh fuck.
Daedalus himself.
So Quintus the swordsman was Daedalus the whole time.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Well, the Easter egg I was talking about.
I saw it coming. I saw it coming.
Get your shit together. She literally undid her fucking microphone because she was slapping her like fucking thigh so hard.
I'm sorry. I just got rhythm.
I got rhythm. No, I ain't got rhythm.
I ain't got rhythm.
I ain't got rhythm.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Phineas and Ferb. But
I saw it coming.
So so the Easter egg I was talking about is that like the fact that Quintus has a hellhound as a pet, which is super, super unusual,
Abnormal.
like crazy. Like, the hellhounds are not pet material. But the fact that he had a special whistle that could let the hellhound be his pet, and he gives it to Percy, that's like an Easter egg that, like, he is Daedalus, because Daedalus is supposed to be the greatest architect, builder, like, inventor who's ever lived. And, of course, only somebody like Daedalus could create a whistle that could control hellhounds. So that's just like one example. There's others in the book that I remember
That's
as a
a bit
kid.
of a stretch for me. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's
An architect making a whistle.
he is an inventor.
Yeah, you said architect.
I said architect, inventor, scholar.
Inventor, sure, but architect, hell fucking no.
He's an architect, inventor, scholar.
Architect Fatsatar?
He is a man who created fucking
Architect
wax
Fatsatar?
wings. He, of course, could create a whistle.
Okay.
Come on, bitch. That's not a stretch at all.
I just don't get the, like, architect. Whatever.
Well, he's the architect
Unless it's
of
like
the
a
Labyrinth.
huge, massive whistle that has like 5 stories and you can live in and subsidize.
If you play it back, I had a list of things that he was, and architect was one of them.
Okay,
Just because
I
you
probably-
decided to hear architect, and that's the only word you heard, is not my problem.
That's the big one that's synonymous with him.
Because of the Labyrinth, but he also is synonymous with fucking wax wings.
Well, look at what that landed Icarus.
They worked. He told him not to fly close to the sun. That is not his fault. It was not his engineering that failed.
Fine. I concede. You were probably right. You probably said inventor. I did not see the connection.
But I'm saying that's why it's like an
It's
Easter
like giving
egg.
someone a dog whistle. I don't think that you need to be skilled to give someone a dog whistle unless Quintus explicitly said, here is the whistle that I made for you to summon this exact hellhound.
That's basically what he did, though.
Did he?
Yes, he gives
Exactly. He said, I made this thing.
not. I think he did.
But if he didn't say that, then that's not an Easter egg.
Ronnie, an Easter egg is not a glaring foreshadowing clue. It's an Easter egg. It means you have to look to find it. It wasn't like a full-on foreshadowing
Well, my parents never
moment.
hid the Easter eggs. We didn't have any bushes.
That's your fucking excuse. Fine. Let's move on. It's just one example. You kill me.
They converse with him only to find out that through the pity that though he pities them and the camp, he has already made up his mind to help Luke, and he has given up the ladder, the magic item. He has given the ladder the magical item that could help the user navigate the maze, Ariadne's string. Hence why Luke was so excited in the maze, because he was like, huh, I got the fucking string. I can get out of here. I can get to my target. I can get the Chronos. I can get the...
Well, I'm saying this is like a huge blow because literally now the
He
Titans...
was working for the fucking camp. He knew the danger impending. It's like so fucking stupid.
But I'm saying, like, this is really bad for Percy and the gang because Daedalus is a very dangerous person to have on the Titans side.
Yes.
Because he is, like, a big deal.
A big player.
Yeah.
He has control of the maze. They explicitly say that his life is tied to the maze. Like, as long as he lives, the maze lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the maze's secrets. And he's a fantastic architect, inventor, like you said.
God!
So it is very, very, very scary to know that he has already pledged his allegiance while he was working at Camp Half-Blood for the Olympians. So that's like kind of like he's like double agent. He was like a man on the inside.
Yeah, basically.
Their conversation is cut short when Kelly, the Empusa, Minos, Daedalus's greatest enemy, and the ghost pending to help Nico.
Pretending to help Nico.
Well, it is pending. He needs to exchange a life for a life.
Oh, no. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. But Minos, remember, is for those of you who
I
don't
didn't
know.
say pretending on the wiki because we don't know he's pretending yet. I said pending because it's waiting for the exchange.
I'm sorry.
God fucking damn it. You just spoiled it for those people.
Oh my god! Like, spoiled my fucking ass. They're literally listening to a podcast where we explain the whole goddamn plot. If you want to experience the unraveling, read the fucking book. So anyway, Minos, for those of you who missed it, is the king of Crete, and he is the one who
the gold guy.
Yes. No, that's Midas, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? Shut up over there. Minos is the king of Crete.
There's so many names.
And he's the one who had Daedalus build the labyrinth, and he's the one who put the Minotaur in it. So Minos is the king of Crete. He's also the judge in the underworld. He's one of the judges who decides where you go.
Yep. Which is why Daedalus doesn't want to die.
Yeah, exactly. And also Minos in Dante's Inferno is the judge.
This fucking synopsis omitted the part where when he revealed himself as Daedalus, Percy was like, wait, I've been seeing Daedalus in my dreams. And he's like, ha 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 ha, that's because I'm a cyborg, motherfucker. I'm a literal transformer, Tony Stark.
I forgot about that part. He's totally didn't even remember that.
He's literally a fucking automaton who changes his face, except the face looks the same in every iteration, or looks similar in every iteration.
Yeah, he's like,
so he's literally a fucking robot.
Yeah.
Like, you were talking about Skyrim earlier?
Yeah.
Fuck you, by the way, nerd.
There are fucking robots in Skyrim.
Yeah. He's one of them.
Yeah. There he is. In the dwarf ruins.
Anyway, continuing. Daedalus' greatest enemy, Minos, is pending and pretending to help Nico, and some of the other enemy forces arrive with Nico in tow. Daedalus, the trio, and Nico battle the monsters. Mrs. O'Leary appears and helps them. Daedalus tells the four to escape, and they flee to the mortal world using his improved metal wings. So now they don't need to worry about succumbing to the ocean. Even though
Percy could literally just make a bubble around them and they could breathe in the bubble, but
yes.
Fine, sure. Metal wings.
And Rachel is able to quickly hail a cab. And, like, surprisingly quickly, like, just raise her hand and they're like, they rush to her, like, what do you want, Rachel Elizabeth Rice?
And they come across another secret tunnel.
So they go back into the labyrinth. They come across a tunnel which Percy figures out to be the entrance to the Titan's palace. He enters alone, fearing for the safety of the others, which the others, mind you, are the two girls he has a little thing with at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Rachel and Annabeth. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like this whole time, as much as there can be a bit of like tension, romantical tension, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's in full force.
Yeah.
Like, Rachel is very clearly like interested in getting to know Percy, and Annabeth is in the corner kind of like with her arms crossed over her chest, like,
Percy's over here like,
I'm...
two people love me. This book, more than any of the other books, actually has the most romance in it.
Yeah.
Because literally 3 people are in love with Percy Jackson in this book.
Calypso, Annabeth, and Rachel.
Yeah. And we get a kiss.
Woohoo! All right.
Percabeth is the superior ship. Like, you ever see those old memes?
Is it Percabeth or Percabeth?
It's Percabeth.
It's phonetically Percabeth.
It's fucking Percabeth.
Okay, bitch. You know what?
Rachel is one of the forbidden ships. Hermione used to be one of them until you freaks on fucking AO3 made it popular.
Good thing I'm not part of one of the forbidden ones.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
Well, I'm going to actually plug real quick.
Oh my god! Go ahead.
We're going to do a have, and have not with my other best friend, Sabrina, who is currently reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So she is reading Harry Potter for the first time as a 25-year-old, and she will tell us her thoughts, and she will let us know who she thinks the superior Harry Potter ship is. Thank you very much, from someone who has never experienced.
It's not Hermione. Anyway, keep
It's not Hermione, but it might be Harmony.
Yeah,
Moving
you
on.
agrees with me. Also, fuck J.K. Rowling. She's a heinous human being.
Oh,
Nobody
she is.
should support her or give her money, but we're going to be doing this
I already own the books, so
Yeah.
let's just be clear. I already own the books.
We are not giving her any fucking money. Just
No.
letting you guys know, because she fucking sucks. Anyway, go ahead.
She does suck. A dick. Where was I?
Not even. She's not even good enough for a dick. She sucks fucking rotten hard-boiled eggs. Go fuck yourself, J.K. Rowling. Anyway.
All right. Percy, he enters alone, fearing for the safety of others. Inside, he finds and opens a golden sarcophagus. Whoa. Sarcophagus.
What is with you right now, bro? You're like not even that drunk.
Dude, I feel drunker than I am. Opens a golden sarcophagus and is shocked to see it is not Kronos.
Side note, before you get into that, the reason I say that comment is I have seen this girl smashed out of her fucking ass.
Singing
and,
Bushel and a Peck.
like, I've literally seen her do a full-on interpretive dance, like, sloshed out of her mind to the point where the next day she didn't remember she did that.
I did?
Yes! Do you not remember on New Year's that you did a whole fucking interpretive dance for us and then you woke up
What
the next
song?
day and didn't remember
What
what it was?
song?
I don't even know. Do you remember what it was, Lewis?
Was it Bushel and a Peck?
I feel like it was something from Has Been Hotel.
Oh. No, I have that video. I was sober for that one.
I don't know what it was, but it was like maybe something they were playing on the New Year's, like on the TV for New Year's, but you literally did a whole ass interpretive dance and then you like went to bed and then the next day. Yeah.
What was it?
It wasn't her most coherent interpretive dance.
But it was still an interpretive dance. So the fact that you're having problems pronouncing words on like 3 glasses of wine is just fucking hilarious
It's like
to me.
5 at this point. Anyway. And is shocked to see that it is not Kronos, but it is Luke. Who is inside.
The sarcophagus.
Percy guesses that Kronos must have fused with Luke, which is a phrase I never expected to read in a fantasy series.
A bit of a leap in logic, but like, okay.
Yeah, he was like, oh my gosh, Luke is in a sarcophagus. I would have been like, Luke, why are you taking a nap in there?
Yo, wake up.
Luke, like, wake the fuck up. What are you doing in there?
If this was from Blood and Ash, he would have just stabbed him.
What's the name of the Is it a tabernacle?
A tabernacle?
Was it a tabernacle?
What are you talking about?
Where you hold communion at church?
Bro, I don't know. I'm not religious.
Tabernacle. I think it's a tabernacle. Continue.
So, Ethan comes in.
It's a tabernacle is a sacred structure with diverse meanings, primarily referring to a place of worship of dwelling, especially religious. No, what the fuck is it? Anyway.
So irrelevant. Okay, so Ethan comes in and pledges allegiance to Kronos. I pledge allegiance to the Kronos.
United States of Kronoston.
So yeah, and those monster creatures who were like the watery creatures that Percy was facing off against.
The telekines.
Before the volcano exploded.
Yeah.
They're holding Kronos' scythe. So like Kronos' iconic weapon
Is a
scythe.
Because he's like the Reaper.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, bitch.
And Kronos awakens, and then what happens?
Suddenly. No. When he first awakens and Luke opens his eyes, he notices that they're not that crystal blue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're gold.
Yes.
And I think that the audiobook does it very weirdly because they're like, oh, it's a voice that's like ancient and deep, but like it's fused with this Callie guy. It's like, hey, Percy, how are you doing? It's bad, dude.
Yeah, I believe you. But also okay, so you ever see that girl? I forget her name. Oh, I'll plug it. But like in the bio, but like she's so fucking funny and she does videos on so many things where she talks about unhinged Percy Jackson moments. This is definitely one of them. Like Percy Jackson is full of the most unhinged fucking hilarious moments. And this
Are you talking specifically about Rachel throwing a blue hairbrush at Kronos and winning?
Exactly. The fact that she threw a fucking blue hairbrush at a literal titan and it worked.
Then, yeah, like literally she was like chancla off, like throwing it like boom.
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
Last resort. Like, she was immortal, and she was able to stun Kronos to the point where Nico summons a wall of black stone, giving them time to escape. Literally, a mortal was instrumental to this immediate departure. All right, after their fight, Percy and Annabeth argue about Luke. And Annabeth is getting really, really touchy about this. I was very upset to hear this. I think this was like chapter 17 or 18 or something. It was pretty late in the book. As in, I read it within the last like 2 days. But Annabeth was really, really touchy. She didn't want to talk about it. She was like, Percy's like, come on. He's turned evil, like he's gone. Like his eyes are golden. You know when the eyes change, they're fucking gone, right? And Annabeth...
Haven't you seen a movie, Annabeth?
I know. Come on, Annabeth. But Annabeth refuses to believe that this is like really the case. And she saw an inkling of Luke when Rachel hit him with the hairbrush.
Yeah, it's like this big bad titan. He's like, rah, rah. Then Rachel hits him. And, oh, shit. What the fuck?
Oh, shit. Like, what?
Bro, that fucking hurt.
Oh. But,
who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Ready?
Oh, fuck. That fucking hurt.
But I kind of understand where she's coming from.
Annabeth?
Yes.
I do too. It's like her child. Look, I don't think we're forgetting the nuance of the relationship between them, but I feel like it needs to be re-emphasized. So Rory, do you mind giving us a bit more of the backstory of Luke, Annabeth, and Grover specifically to emphasize why Annabeth probably has such a strong relationship or desire to see him not turn this way?
Well, like, Annabeth was only 7 when she got to Camp Half-Blood, which is unusually young.
Yes.
All of the other campers are at least, like, middle school age, basically, when they end up at Camp Half-Blood. Because she was, like, abandoned, effectively, by her father and her stepmother. And Luke and Thalia saved her.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Like, they saved her. Like, they're the reason she even ended up at camp. Like, Thalia literally sacrificed her life. And all she had left was Grover and Luke. And so she not only kind of had this, like, childhood crush on Luke is the way that Rick frames it, but I feel like it's deeper.
Like it's an infatuation. Yeah. It's a deep-seated, like, brotherly love, maybe?
No, I don't know.
Romantic?
I think let me cook here. I think that, honestly, even calling it, like, a crush on Luke, which is the way that Rick tries to kind of hint at, is almost, like...
reductive.
Yeah, like, it's almost, like, not enough, because...
I muted my mic because I thought I was going to burp, but I didn't. I said reductive.
Yeah, it's like, I honestly don't think that even does it justice, because, you know, saying that, oh, she's got a little crush on Luke because he's older, and she's younger, and he's good looking, and all that stuff, like, feels almost too typical. And
idyllic.
Yeah, and it feels like it's being a little dismissive of the fact that
they went through hell together.
Literally, that Luke represents safety, like this ideal, and she had such a deep
family, people who care about her.
Yeah, familial connection to him and respect for him. So I think that, like, because the book is from Percy's perspective, of course, like, some of what maybe he's feeling is jealousy, and he's attributing, like, a lot of Annabeth's defensiveness of Luke to the fact that when he first met her, she clearly had more than just friendly feelings for him.
Which I feel like is kind of fair considering her age at the time that they met, which was what, 11, 12?
Yeah, like 12 years old,
yeah,
you know, like, but I think that
an infatuation with someone who saved your life is not uncommon at that age.
Yeah, exactly. So
I understand why he's jealous, but I also understand why she has that sense of unfounded optimism.
Yeah, I think that she...
Is that the right...
Well, it's not... Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think it's like cutting Annabeth some slack. It's not just that she doesn't want to believe her friend is evil. She doesn't want to believe someone she genuinely loves and trauma bonded with for very real reasons is choosing such a dark path.
I feel like that word, though, there, love, that's the word that scares Percy.
Yes, that she loves Luke. She does love Luke.
I think he is afraid that he will always come second to Luke at this point in time.
Yeah.
Because the point of the matter is that Luke isn't there with them. Luke is there against them.
Yeah.
And she is still subconsciously choosing Luke over Percy.
That's true. And I also think there's also that overlooming. On that note, one of the other issues with that is that there's also a possibility, like, what if Annabeth chooses Luke and decides to side with Luke? Like,
I don't think she would do that because she's too rational.
Of course,
but
we
in
don't think
his
she would do that.
emotion-fueled haze, he might fucking hell.
Jesus Christ, fix that fucking
I'm
thing.
trying. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, genuinely, I don't like to play with my mic. There we go. It's like resting on, like, pop socket is right. Pop socket, pop mic. No, it's like, I don't think that she'll turn the tides, but in this moment, he's probably genuinely concerned that that will happen because she's just being such a huge advocate for Luke.
Yeah, so I think that it's a multitude of things, and I think that both of them, I understand where they're coming from, but I give Annabeth grace in this situation because the way that I hear people talk about her relationship to Luke, it's so reductive, like you said.
Let me just say, I will interject and say, I understand, but this is where her fatal flaw comes in again.
The emotion that she doesn't want to admit she has.
The emotion. She, as intelligent as she is hindered by emotion. Mm-hmm. Even bringing it all the way back to the first book, The Lightning Thief. She won the Capture the Flag because she had a desire to prove herself. I feel that's inherently tied to emotion, to pride, to selfishness. Mm-hmm. It's not an emotion. Sure, those are emotions that are like, you know, like that we're talking about now, like love and care and shame or being or feeling like reduced by the Sphinx. But those are still emotions.
Right, and notice how she gave Luke the moment of glory and Capture the Flag. It could have been anyone.
It could have been anyone.
Why did she choose to make the person who got the glory and captured the flag Luke, of all people? You know, so you're so right about all that. And that's why I love Annabeth as a character, because
she's so flawed in like one of the most beautiful ways.
Yeah.
Because she feels so lived in and human, and it feels like Rick almost knew a girl that he taught who was like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like somebody who's so smart but so emotional, but because she's prideful, can't even recognize, despite her intelligence, the fact that her emotions are hindering her.
And I feel like she needs to, in this moment, you said you sided with Annabeth? Mm-hmm. I sided with Percy.
Well, I'm not saying I sided with Annabeth. I'm saying I understand where Annabeth is coming from. And my big...
Right, I thought you said sided. That was my bad.
No, my point in bringing it up is more just to say that I think that the way people talk about her relationship to Luke is like kind of dismissive and not quite hitting the mark. Like the way that I hear a lot of people talk about it is like that it's this girl crush that she just needed to get over.
Oh no.
And
no.
like,
There's something deeper.
Right. Was my big point.
I don't think it's romantic love. I don't think it's anything that would have developed into any sort of relationship that was appropriate for their age. But I feel like it was definitely a love that was found in security and strength and fondness and appreciation and value and admiration.
And I agree with you in the sense that I think Percy's right, but I don't think he's right for the right reasons.
I agree with that.
Do you know what I mean?
I do agree with that.
He's right, but he's not right for the right reasons.
He's not right because Annabeth is wrong.
Right. Like, he doesn't have the right evidence to prove his rightness.
No. He's not right because Annabeth is wrong, but I feel like Annabeth, her emotion is ruling her wisdom in this moment. Like, she needs to recognize that for all intents and purpose, she needs to see Luke as gone. And although she saw a glimmer of him, I feel she could recognize it, but she can't hold that tendril like a lifeline. Mm-hmm. That's something that they can work at later, but rather than model their entire approach off of, which is what I feel Annabeth's mind is trying to do.
Yeah. And I'll add one more thing just because, again, I connect to this
character.
Dude,
this is our podcast. I know you didn't apologize, but that felt like a pseudo-apology, so don't even do that.
I'm not trying to, like, belabor this point, but because we're on Annabeth's character, and I just connect to her so deeply in some ways, you see, even as we get into, like, the spin-off books and whatever, for those of you who've gotten that far, and, what I really appreciate about her character, as you see that, first of all, obviously she's incredibly loyal, but I think that it's so accurate to life that people like Annabeth just hold on so tightly to the people they decide to let into their circle.
Oh, yeah.
And
I feel like that's a very human thing to do.
Right. And you see Percy kind of pinning it negatively because it's in relation to Luke. But you'll notice, like, as you get further into the spin-off books and everything.
She does that with Percy, probably.
She does that with Percy. She doesn't give up on him. She clings to him so tightly because she refuses to question what she has already made the determination on, which is this person is worth saving, worth believing in. And that is both negative and positive, because when it's in relation to Percy, it's warranted. But when it's in relation to Luke, it's absolutely not.
It's in that previous context.
Yeah.
It's she is reminiscing and trying to save someone who is not currently presenting themselves as a character worth saving. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, shows that you have some sort of like optimism. But it's, like I said before, it's unfounded.
Yeah. So it's very fascinating. This whole exchange is very interesting.
It is.
But for a children's book.
Yes. Annabeth refuses to believe this, as she has seen that it was Luke who cried out when Rachel hit him with the hairbrush, not Kronos. Percy goes to talk to Rachel, but is stunned when he sees Grover's cap lying on the ground. The cap is lying near the entrance to a tunnel, and the four push farther in.
It's like, man, shit after shit, bro. Like, they just can't get a fucking win.
Because don't forget, Nico's with them, too. That makes 4, right?
Yes.
There they find Tyson. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I had to, like... I was up, like, for a while today, so sorry. There they find Tyson and an unconscious Grover. They manage to wake Grover, and together the 6 finally enter Pan's last resting place, Carlsbad Caverns.
Caverns? Are you Scottish? What the fuck was that, Jamie Fraser? Carlsbad Caverns under New Mexico.
Carlsbad Caverns. Carlsbad Caverns under New Mexico. And New Mexico had some stuff happen in it in the past, so it just coincided well.
Yeah, wasn't New Mexico where they got the
something to do with Pan?
Maybe, but I thought New Mexico was where they were in the first book when they got the truck to Vegas, the animal truck. I thought that was in New Mexico.
It was something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The god asked Grover to spread the word that Pan truly is dead, and his domain is much too damaged to be saved. Though Grover initially refuses, he eventually concedes. Pan addresses each of them individually with the exception of Nico, which is a very important thing to consider.
It is, yes.
Because he explicitly excludes the child of the dead, which only further ostracizes him more. So he considers Rachel, right, in this, but he doesn't consider Nico.
Yeah, he does. He addresses Rachel, but not Nico.
He addresses a human, but not another demigod.
Yeah.
Pan finally dissolves, and with a curl of white mist, enters the 6, with Grover getting a bit more than the others.
Yeah, so basically Pan's like,
you guys fucked me.
This world
over.
This world is too far gone to ever save. I'm gonna fade into nothing and enter all of your bodies. Take me with you. Fucking peace out. Global warming is happening whether we like it or not. I won't be here when that does happen. Which he wasn't wrong. No, I mean, we're pretty fucked. You know, we've made our decision. The polar bears are all going to die, guys.
And he had made a comment that, like, he told them over and over again, I am fading. And they're like, no, you're not, dude. No, you're not. And now he's gone, and no one's going to believe.
But, you know, it's kind of sweet, though, because it's, like, leaves you with a little glimmer of hope in that, like, Grover in that moment feels like even though Pan's gone, he doesn't give up on Pan's dream.
Correct.
Which is really sweet that, like, you know...
Even when the god of that domain gives up, Grover still has the determination to persevere.
Because he's fucking Grover, man. He's great. We love Grover.
So Percy And the crew, they make it out of the labyrinth, and Rachel tells him specifically that her father is a very rich land developer, which explains why she was able to quickly commandeer a ride back into the labyrinth, and why she felt guilty about Pan's passing, because her father would buy a lot of the land that Pan was referencing was decimated in order to like industrialize.
Yeah, so basically her dad is like the piece of shit CEO who like tore down the forest to build a shopping mall, like kind of asshole.
And Percy says something really nice to her, and he says basically like, I don't judge you based off of your dad's decisions, I judge you based off of yours, and what I do know is that back there you saved us and you led us through the maze, which is very sweet. Percy reassures her that it's not her fault. She is like, you know, you can call me.
Call me, babe.
And he's like, okay. And she's like, should I write down my number again? He's like, nope, I already memorized it. And she's like, ooh.
Oh my god, he memorized my phone number.
And Annabeth's in the back like, it's so funny.
Back off, bitch.
Literally so funny.
My mother's done worse to virgins.
My mother's done worse to a fucking spinster who outweaved her. Percy reassures her that it's not her fault. Soon, I'm so sorry again. Soon the three campers and Nico fly on the Pegasi back to camp.
The Pegasi.
Question, how many of you did yawn when I did yawn? Because yawns are communicable. You know, I can't fucking say any fucking name, but I can say communicable.
Can you? Are you sure that's what happened? Anyway, let's keep going.
I just did.
Battle of the Labyrinth.
I gotta change it so we're not copyrighted. Continue, Rory.
It's not copyrighted if you're doing it from your mouth. It's significantly changed.
Well, it's gotta be changed enough from the original version.
Exactly,
to not...
it's your rendition. It's not.
But
copyrighted.
if I am pitch perfect, which I obviously am because I'm a phenomenal singer, like that was uncanny to the recording.
Oh, totally.
So I gotta change it up a little bit. All right, continue.
That's for your attorney.
Rory, ready, go.
The four make it back in time to see the camp making preparations for war. Percy and Chiron are able to talk for a while before Kronos' army explodes from the labyrinth, because fucking duh, of course they would do that. The campers, along with the satyrs, nymphs, and Chiron, do their best to hold the enemy forces off. Daedalus, Mrs. O'Leary, and Briareus.
Where the fuck did he come from again?
I don't know.
He just popped up. He was like, yeah, I didn't die in that fire. Hey guys, I'm here to help.
He's fine. And Mrs. O'Leary's a hellhound, so she's fireproof. But it seems that the camp may be saved. But Campe suddenly bursts from the labyrinth.
And
so
that's
Campe was
the
who?
Campe with the E with the little hat on it.
Yeah.
Back all the way with the monster with the 10 hands in Alcatraz.
Yeah, so Campe was the one who was keeping the Briareus, who is the 100-handed monster, captive. He's
a jailer for the giants, the Cyclopes, and the Hecatoncheires.
He's a titan.
Yes.
So, clearly shit's not looking too good, because we have a full frontal fucking attack
on the camp.
On Camp Half-Blood.
Rather, in the camp.
The Battle of Camp Half-Blood.
Not even on the camp. They are infiltrating into the camp.
Yeah,
they have passed the walls.
Yeah,
they have
up.
Entered the cell.
Yeah.
Like a sperm into the
Oh my god. How did I know you were gonna fucking say that, you disgusting pervert? Okay, well, the odds are stacked against the camp.
Look at him. He's so disappointed in me, Rory.
So they say in this, and you explain, because I haven't read the book in a while, but it says Grover unleashes Panic, a gift from Pan.
So Panic. So Pan, the prefix Pan, means all. So it is a gift from Pan. It's essentially a battle cry that is... It looks like he's just going like, ah! Yeah. But really, it's like at a certain timbre or a certain whatever the fuck that will like ward off these fucking crazies.
Gotcha.
So he unleashes Panic, not in that he panicked, but a strategic move that is, well, it implied later that he was like doing it intentionally. Like they were like, "You screamed." He's like, "No, I panicked." Ha ha. Yes.
So they retreat back into the labyrinth, all the bad guys.
Yes. So it's essentially like a "get away from me right the fuck now" cry.
But it's only a temporary solution.
Correct.
Because they will regroup at some point.
And also now they know how to get in.
Yes.
So that's the huge thing, is they have a direct in and they know how to get in. Mm-hmm. They know how to slip in.
Yes. Oh, and this is a big moment for Daedalus. Because he has like a weird change of heart at this point.
Yeah, so Daedalus has now, or Daedalus, however you choose to pronounce, has seen firsthand the effects of the Titans on the innocents, mm-hmm. which are the half-bloods, mm-hmm. which are the kids, really.
Which makes him think of his son.
Icarus. So Daedalus makes a choice to end his life voluntarily, and therefore the labyrinth, in order for the camp to be saved. Before he dies, he gives Annabeth a sleek silver laptop. I thought it was gold, though.
I don't know, but it is kind of funny that it's a fucking laptop. Like, here, Annabeth, take my laptop. Like,
my last will and testament is located on the 3rd file of the OneDrive.
Yeah, like, it's so fun. Like, I get the point because Rick always, updates like the old things, and it's it's important because it has all of his like notes and plans, and Annabeth wants to be an architect, so it's like a whole thing. Yeah. But it is still funny that he's like this dying man, and he's like, "Here, take my fucking laptop." I want to imagine
it's like one of those old Windows ones that you open it up. It's like
it's like one of the old Apple ones that had like a handle on it, like the clamshell.
No, dude,
like
I'm imagining like the vista of the bright green fields, and you open up the Dell like the.
I think in the Demigod files, there's actually a drawing of what the laptop looks like.
Fantastic.
So that's pretty funny.
So Nico, having that power, releases him. The labyrinth is thus destroyed, and the camp is saved.
Yay!
Later, after dinner, Percy catches Nico just as the latter is about to leave. Nico apologizes for being such a brat to Percy, and Percy forgives him. So right now, we're kind of like, okay, Nico has chosen his side. We don't really know that yet.
No, we don't know that
Nico apologizes for being such a brat, like I said, and Percy offers Nico a place in camp, but Nico refuses, saying that he could not be accepted in any place but with the dead. So I had mixed feelings, because in the first part, the former, I was like, oh yeah, he's good. He's like wanting to join. And then him outwardly refusing a place makes me think that he's still in that no man's land. I haven't chosen a side. I don't know where to align.
But I think it's important that he says to Percy that he has no place but among the dead, which
are neutral.
I think
he's effectively saying I'm Switzerland.
Yeah, he's effectively saying I'm Switzerland. Like,
I'm Switzerland!
I have no investment in anything but people who are already dead.
But it's unfortunate because it still means he is fair game to both sides.
Yeah, but I think at this point, even in the 4th book, like, I know this becomes a thing in the 5th book, so like, don't hate, like, but I think even though Nico was always like an option, just like Thalia was an option, like, Percy fucking knows it's him.
We know it's Percy Jackson. His name's on the front of the books.
But not even just from that, like, Percy knows it's him. Percy knows it's him. Percy always keeps that in the back of his mind. But I think Percy is so interesting because I think a part of him wants it to be him. I think a part of him doesn't want it to be him.
I feel like a part of him wants it to be him because it would give him a purpose for all the things that have happened to him.
Yes, I think a part of him wants it to be him. I think a part of him doesn't want it to be him just because he knows what it would mean. But I think also a part of him also, like, has just decided that it will be him because he is the fucking son of the sea god, and he's like, I am the best option. Quite frankly, I think he thinks that of all the people who were contenders, he's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so Percy's an icon.
No,
he's like, it gotta be me, shit, shit, motherfucker, shit. Like, which I appreciate. He's kind of like, look, man, like, it's fucking me.
He's resigned, but he, as evidenced by the Island of Calypso episode of the saga, he has more or less said to the universe, if it is me, I accept it readily.
Yes.
If it is not me, I am ready to step in if needed.
Yeah.
Which is a very big move on his part.
Yeah, Percy's great. He's a great main character.
Percy offers Nico a place in camp, but Nico refuses, saying that he could not be accepted in any place but the dead. Percy lets him leave as he knows Nico must find his own path. So that's what happens.
But just like Hades finds his own path,
remember,
different from everyone else.
Remember, guys, this happened all at the beginning of summer. So we still have all summer. And all summer takes about 2 paragraphs to cover, and not even that. So basically, they have everything happen. They have the capture the flag. They have this. They have that. They literally continue with summer the rest of the way. So towards the end of summer, Percy gets Annabeth to reveal the rest of her prophecy, which I do have pulled up because I do come prepared to this shit.
Oh, whoa.
You shall delve in the darkness of the endless maze. The dead, the traitor, and the lost one raise. You shall rise or fall by the ghost king's hand, the child of Athena's final stand. Destroy with a hero's final breath, and lose a love to worse than death. That was her prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why she was so hesitant to share it.
Lose a love to worse than death. What do we think that means, Veronica?
Well, I think it's a bit of a red herring, maybe. Because I think we want to believe that it's Luke giving his body as a host for Kronos. But at the same time, I don't think that he's her ultimate love. So I want to reserve place for Percy. So lose a love to worse than death. I think it's supposed to be Luke.
I think that it's supposed to be Luke, but like we just talked about, me wanting to be the literature person over here, I think that on the surface it's Luke. Like literally it's Luke. Because yes.
But under
the surface it's Percy, because what's the fate worse than death is being the chosen one.
Yeah.
That this cements Percy as the chosen one, is this 4th book, really.
Yeah.
There's talk about it in the 5th book, but like I said, at this point, from what I remember, the 4th book, like Percy knows it's him.
Yeah.
And so I think that also could be the reference that like she's losing her love to a fate worse than death, which is to like have to bear this burden.
Predestination, rather.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be it.
So breaking it down, you shall delve into the darkness of the endless maze. Annabeth and her group go into the labyrinth. You shall the dead, the traitor, and the lost one raise. Nico raises the dead. Ethan joins the Kronos after Percy saves his life, and Grover succeeds in finding Pan, the dead, the traitor, and the lost one, respectively. Mm-hmm. You shall rise or fall by the Ghost King's hand. Nico calls himself the Ghost King during the battle in Daedalus's workshop, and he chooses to save Percy and Annabeth's lives. Mm-hmm. The child of Athena's final stand. Daedalus makes a decision on whose side to be on, because Daedalus was the child of Athena, like I said.
You're right. I did not remember that.
Destroy with a hero's final breath. Daedalus is willing to die for the labyrinth's destruction, both being connected to each other. And the last line is and lose a love to worse than death, which we have just talked about the duality of it. Luke gives his body to the host for Kronos. Luke is effectively Kronos. So they're going to have to fight Kronos in Luke's skin in the next book, which mm-hmm. is terrifying. Mm-hmm. Which is absolutely terrifying, which I always hate when these books do it, but I appreciate it because it brings humanity to a non-humane topic.
Yes.
Or a non-humane host, which is very, very, very interesting. But that's the prophecy broken down.
So then she tells Percy the prophecy, and then fucking Hera shows up.
And they offend her, remarking that though she is the goddess of family, she only cares about perfect families, because her machinations were all to secure. I didn't get this part, honestly.
Because she is the goddess of family, but you'd think that somebody who cares so much about family would care about keeping families together and whole and civil. Like, her whole mission in life has to ruin the lives and break apart people who are not like her children and Zeus's children. She's effectively, like, I think, like, putting it in the most simplistic way possible, like this allegory for people who feel this elitism about just being in a nuclear family.
Yeah.
And they're kind of right, because, you know, that's kind of shitty.
So since Annabeth outwardly offends Hera replies that she will remember this insult and disappears, which I feel like is going to be a point of conflict next I was going to say next semester, next season.
Hera's always the villain in Greek mythology.
Well, because
Zeus
Zeus is always fucking everyone, and she's always trying to get revenge.
Well, which I resent, because you know what? Justice for Hera, Zeus is a piece of shit. Anyway, keep going.
And it's ironic that Zeus, this like very promiscuous figure, is chosen to like unite with the goddess of family ties, and
and motherhood,
and is literally a serial adulterer.
Yeah, well, because he represents like the ideal masculine like persona.
The ideal masculine
like,
personified person is like fucking everything with 2 legs,
male
or
virility.
4 legs, or 6 legs, or 8 legs.
It's male virility. Like the male ideal is to spread your seed and all that nonsense. You know, like men are fucking weird.
God. Percy goes back home to celebrate his 15th birthday with his mom, Paul, and Tyson. Poseidon does arrive.
Which,
surprisingly.
Oh my God, we haven't seen Poseidon since like book 1.
He shows up in his fucking Bermuda shorts and everything.
It's so crazy.
And he's like, he pulls Percy aside. And before this, Paul had actually asked Percy for Sally's hand in marriage.
Yeah, which is so cute. This next part, though, is so fucked up. The Poseidon... Wait, go ahead.
So Poseidon tells Percy that he is his favorite son.
Which is bullshit.
Because Percy references the arena and what... that bitch like did in the name of Poseidon. And Poseidon's like, well, usually what demigods do in name of their... parents is more of an indication of the demigods than the parents. But you, Perseus Jackson, you are my favorite son. And then
go fuck yourself.
And then
Poseidon.
he gives him a sand dollar before leaving. And the sand dollar is going to play a role in the next book, I'm sure. Nico, while Percy is in his room and he's having a slice of blue cake, Nico suddenly appears on the fire escape after Percy plants the sprig from Calypso on the window box, and he claims that he has found a new way to beat Kronos, and he offers him a deal. Percy knows how wistfully Nico looks at the birthday food and invites him inside for both food and talk, and that is actually exactly where it ends.
Leaves you on quite the cliffhanger.
I loved this book. It took me a literal calendar year to finish, but every time I read it, I just couldn't help but thinking, like, why don't I read this more? And then I remember, because I'm reading complex case studies on hemodynamic and fibrinolytic responses to exercise. And that's why I don't read it. But
excuses.
I know. But I'm here. And I'm going to take the last Olympian with me as I leave after this. I literally finished the book today, and I thought it was a really, really, really a solid book. Like you said, this book is probably my favorite thus far, aside from the first book, just because the first book always has to be the favorite for nostalgia purposes. It reserves a special place in your heart. But the fourth book, I think, is the most well written. I think it also... Fucking hell.
Just leave it. We're at the end.
This fucking pop filter, whatever. I think that it opens the door for a lot of mysteries, because Nico even says himself, I don't know who paid for me to go to private school with Bianca. I don't know who pulled me out of the Lotus Hotel. I don't know this. I don't know this. I don't know this. And I want to figure it out. Mm-hmm. So there's still so many cans of worms that have just been left like... opened, but unattended.
Well, I think like the reason why I love this book so much, like I said at the beginning about the stuff with Annabeth and all that, but I also think that some of the most fun ideas that like Rick came up with for this series like were in this book, like, and I also think that this book had the best prophecy. Like, the prophecy was really good. Like, the first book, it was sort of his go around, and I love it. It's iconic, like, but I think this one actually had a lot more, like, oh, like, you need to finish the book to, like, actually, like, even if you were told the prophecy beforehand,
yeah,
like, I feel like you still wouldn't really quite guess what it was.
I would say I would agree and disagree at the same time, because I feel like that's what the first one too. Like we didn't know who we would be betrayed by until the end. So there's always that element that Rick's going to incorporate to keep you in suspense until the last line of the prophecy, which really is the nail biter. So I'm going to interject briefly and say I don't know if there's going to be another prophecy in the next book, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's another Percy one.
Yeah, and it is.
And the last line has to deal with something between him and Annabeth.
You're close.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You're close. But I do think
I'm on the right thread.
You're on the right track. But like the thing that's cool is that there is a prophecy for Percy, but it's weird because when we get to the fifth book, like this fourth book is the last book in this series where anything to do with like this book represents the serious shift that Rick needed to set up for the fifth book to make sense.
Oh, he escalated it beautifully.
Yeah, because
let me just say that
up until this point, even if we didn't know the prophecy, right? Like, because Clarice doesn't tell us, and like in the third book, like, who gets the prophecy? Thalia or Bianca or somebody? Someone gets the prophecy, and they don't tell us right away. But every single book up until the fourth one, the prophecy is like, hyper specific to this one hero and this one quest that's relatively self-contained. And this book and this adventure like kind of shows our heroes and us as the audience that this is now bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, it's the fate of the universe.
And you'll see in the fifth book when Percy gets the new prophecy for him, it's not like the first book where this was this hyper specific to Percy's quest, Percy's journey,
you
Percy's
shall go
agenda.
And face the treacherous storm.
Yeah.
You will find what is stolen and see it returned.
Yeah.
You will I forget the rest.
But you get what I'm saying, that like, every book so far has been like hyper focused on this like one kid, this self-contained adventure. Like by the time we get to the fifth book, the prophecy may be about Percy and given to Percy, but rest assured the prophecy is not Percy's alone. So like this is the last book where we get that sort of sense, and even then the prophecy that Annabeth gets is mostly not even about her. So
Annabeth
like
gets the prophecy as well.
What I'm saying, in the fourth book, we just read that so much of the prophecy she was given isn't even about actions she takes. It's
True.
about other people. So like we're
prophecies
kind of
don't need to be specific to the individual enacting the action. It like even like you shall be betrayed by one who calls you friend. Like,
but that's about Percy, is what I'm saying, is that this was like a shift in that like this is like where we're starting to get indications that like things are getting bigger than just the characters themselves. And so I'm very excited for you to read the fifth book, because as much as the fifth book I don't think is like the best one in the series, obviously I do think it's a very satisfying conclusion and I'm very excited. But this fourth book it
was well done.
It's so good. It just holds such a place in my heart and I love it so much, and I'm glad that you loved it. And I can't wait till we talk about the next one.
It was very, very good, and I don't really have much else to say because I don't have any like media sources to go on. Like if we had done this in like 5 years, maybe we would have like season 4 of Percy Jackson to talk about. But I think that this book really stands on its own as a testament to Rick's story building, his incorporation of Greek mythology, his foresight and hindsight, and his just true I would say architecture for building a very good story.
How fitting. That's a great I love the way you phrased that. That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
He constructed proper foundation. He built up the walls. He made sure everything was within code. It was regulated, and it was it stood a lot of shaking.
Yeah.
But it did very, very, very well.
I mean, Percy Jackson isn't perfect. Like, we even point out and we laugh at some of the stupid shit that ends up being in these books. But ultimately, like, even those things are so not distracting that you still end up enjoying it. So it's great.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I enjoyed reading, and I just, yeah.
All right, well, this has been Have and Have Not. I'm Rory.
And I'm Roni.
And this has been what, Roni?
Have and Have Not, a series where Rory had me read Percy Jackson, Battle of the Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because I recommend good books.
Yeah, that's why I said fuck, because I recommend the bad books. Every time we leave a Have and Have Not where I choose a book, you're like, I want to drown myself in my sorrows. And I'm like, oh, that was such a good book.
She just likes to see me upset,
The
y'all.
thing is, I know what to get a rise out of her.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Quite. She's Italian, so the hands go flying really quickly.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.